Well, it rained for most of the afternoon here in New York City. The tarp was on, batting practice was held indoors, but then the rain stopped. And we are going to have baseball here at the ballpark, and A.J. Burnett will get a chance to throw the first pitch. As tonight, My Nine presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the New York Yankees against the L.A. Angels of Anaheim in the first of three from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball, along with Ken Singleton and Paul O'Neill. I'm Michael Kay. Well, the Yankees just came off a road trip where they won 4 in a row against the White Sox. They won the first game against the Red Sox. They look poised to have an unbelievable week. But then Saturday, CC Sabathia got beaten by the Red Sox. And Sunday, it came down to the bottom of the ninth inning. Yankees had a lead with Mariano, and it looked good.
It looked good, but it didn't end so good for the Yankees on Sunday night. Mariano in the ball game, and Marco Scudero leading off the bottom of the ninth with a double off the Green Monster and left after a sacrifice bunt. Dustin Pedroia with a sacrifice fly, and the game is tied at 2. Well, it wouldn't stay tied for long. Is in the 10th inning. Phil Hughes on the pitch to Josh Reddick, hits a single into the corner. Pinch runner Darnell McDonald's going to score the winning run, and the Red Sox ended up taking 2 out of 3 from the Yankees at Fenway Park.
All right, so where do we stand right now? Red Sox won last night. The Yankees are off. So it's a game and a half in the American League East, 1 in the loss column. The Yankees 7-game lead over the Angels in the wild card, but 8 in the loss column, which leads us to tonight's pitching matchup, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. To get dunked, go to www.getdunked.com. That's GETDUNKD.com. Dan Herron goes for the Angels, 12-6, 2.81. A.J. Burnett for the Yankees, 8-9 with a 4.54. And Paul, last time out, Burnett had a 13-1 lead against the White Sox, and he didn't get the win.
The Yankee offense tried to hand A.J. Burnett a win, but if you'll watch these pitches, all up in the zone. Season high, 13 hits, 7 earned runs. There's no way to sugarcoat it. A.J. Burnett was not good last time. You expect him to be much better today. A.J. Burnett has not won a game since late June. Things must change in Burnett's case.
And he was taken out before he got the 5 innings that he needed. He gave the ball to Girardi, and then in anger, he ripped off his uniform top, and he prepared for this start today. One of the guys he's going to have to face is Mark Trumbo, a rookie, but he's so important what the Angels do. When we come back with Ken Singleton, he'll explain why next. A couple of moments away from first pitch, Yankees and the Angels. Mark Trumbo, the rookie, has meant a lot to this Angels team. Amongst major league rookies in the rankings, 3rd in at-bats. He's 1st in both home runs and RBIs, tied for 3rd in runs scored, and he's 3rd in slugging percentage at .495. Hi, everybody. Michael Kay alongside Ken Singleton, and Paul O'Neill will rejoin us in just a moment. Trumbo has stepped in for the injured Kendrys Morales and given the Angels more than they could have hoped for.
Well, a lot of power production from the first base position. Here's a young man born in Anaheim. He grew up in the shadow of Angel Stadium, and now he's hitting home runs out of the ballpark for his hometown team, and with regularity. He's the front runner for Rookie of the Year in the American League because of power just like this. Earlier this season off Bartolo Colon at Angel Stadium. Mark Trumbo, a name to remember for the future. He's going to be a good one.
maybe a playoff preview here at Yankee Stadium. We'll see. These two teams always have great games, tight, back and forth. When we come back, lineups, first pitch, baseball next on My 9. McDonald's today for some juicy, tender chicken McNuggets. Brought to you by Hyundai. People are talking about Hyundai, uncensored. See what they're saying at Hyundai.com. And by Chase. Deposit checks from your smartphone with quick deposit. Take a step forward and chase what matters. Kind of a gray, overcast day. Same type of evening. The lights are on early here at Yankee Stadium, and A.J. Burnett taking his warm-ups. Let's take a look at the Angels starting lineup, which is brought to you by Nissan. It's Nissan's bottom line sales event, and we're laying it all on the line. Visit ChooseNissan.com or your local dealer today. Eric Ibar, the shortstop, leads off. Howie Kendrick at second will bat second. Bobby Abreu, the DH, hits third. Cleaning up right fielder Torrey Hunter. Mark Trumbo, the first baseman, will bat fifth. Batting sixth, the left fielder Vernon Wells. Meiser Torres at third base will bat seventh. Peter Borges, the center field, is going to bat eighth. And batting ninth and catching, Jeff Mathis.
A.J. Burnett on the mound for the Yankees, a 2-2 record in his career against the Angels. As we take a look at his overall numbers on the season, 23 starts, a record of 8-9, and ERA 4.54. Opponents hitting .241. Let's take a look at the New York Yankees pitcher scouting report, brought to you by McDonald's. Stop by McDonald's today for some juicy, tender chicken McNuggets. He's got to get something brewing. He hasn't won since he beat Milwaukee on June the 29th. Right hand, he's got good stuff. Right-handed batters hitting just .229, and he's got to keep the Angels grounded. One of the best running teams in baseball. They will steal. 2 more steals, they'll have 100. That'll be the 11th year in a row.
Let's do it here at the stadium. The first pitch is high, and we are underway.
Talks about it, Kenny. That's not a new thing. I mean, in the past, that has been one of the strengths of the Angels against the Yankees. That's why they've had so much success.
Good base running team under Mike Scioscia. They'll go first to third on base hits and steal a lot of bases.
Ibar grounds it foul. Mike Scioscia not thrilled with his offense. He admits that his team is where it's at in pennant contention because of its pitching. Very inconsistent offense, he said, and we need more from our veteran outfielders, Abreu, Hunter, and Wells. Ibar hitless in his last 19 at-bats. There's a strike, 1-2. AJ's trying to put a win on his August ledger as a Yankee. In 2.5 years, he's 0-8 with a 7.28 ERA in August in pinstripes. The 1-2. AJ trying to change his luck a little bit. Came in to the clubhouse today with his hair dyed platinum blonde. And he said yesterday, or at least it was in the post, I just want to have fun. And, you know, the old saying is, blondes have more fun. So
platinum blonde count?
I guess.
You have fun when you win games.
Dark hair or not?
Yeah. Doesn't matter how you look.
The 1-2. Lined right at Cano. One away. Why don't we take a look at the Yankee defense? In the outfield, it's Gardner, Granderson, and Swisher. That's left to right. Infield, Nunez, Jeter, Cano, and Teixeira, third and first. Russell Martin behind the plate. And Alan James Burnett is on the mound. Here's Howie Kendrick. Now, Kendrick is considered a Yankee killer. He's a .352 hitter against the Yankees, but it's a big but. He's 4 for his last 43 going back to September 2009, and that includes the playoffs.
Four for his last 43 against the Yankees?
Yes.
So what was he hitting before? If he's still hitting 352?
465 he was hitting.
You can go in a slump when you're hitting 465, though. You know, he still looks good.
You're kind of expected to go in a slump when you're hitting 465.
You can tell by his approach. He can hit.
Yeah.
He came to the major leagues as a hitter. His defense has come around a little bit, even more so this year, but he's a hitter.
Not that time. Swings and misses, 2 away.
Good breaking ball.
Tonight's closed captioning brought to you by your local Lexus dealer.
It's a new platinum blonde hook right there. Did you see that?
Well, we're going to take another look at it. Watch the break on this one. We saw it better than Kendrick did.
Bobby Abreu, another guy that Mike Scioscia, and you know you're comfortable as a manager when you can just flat out say these are the guys that need to help us win. Bobby Abreu, one of those group, and he's in a miserable slump now. He's starting to turn it around a little bit, but just he's a good, solid player. You expect him to do things every single day. One of those guys that just shows up, puts up consistent numbers. This year he's struggled a little bit.
Yeah, he's hitting 155 since July the 1st.
Does well against the Yankees. In his last 25 games against the Yankees, he's reached base safely. Longest current streak of its kind in the major leagues, but he has 1 for his last 19. One and two.
You know, Paul, you mentioned he's a good, solid player, and I bet you a lot of fans don't know actually how solid Abreu has been. You go back to 2001, he's been on base 2,909 times. Only one player has been on base more than him since 2001. It's Albert Pujols.
Pitch is high.
Always works counts, and I also read that, I mean, he's coming up on a milestone. He's got a chance to hit 300 home runs, steal 400 bases. I mean, that's only happened by a couple other guys in baseball. The same team, same family, when the Bonds.
Yeah.
Barry and his father.
Checks the swing. Mike Everett, the third base up. Chris Guccione behind the plate.
We got the bases mic'd up tonight, don't we? As far as umpires are concerned. Mike Munchlitsky at first, Mike Winters at second, and Mike Everett at third.
Three-two. Rounded foul.
Bobby Abreu is a type of player that's never really concerned about hitting with 2 strikes. But, you know, A.J. Burnett in this first inning has shown that he has a good curveball. You see that ball missed a little bit, but had good movement.
A.J. started the season 8-6, about a 4 ERA, 6 games since, 0-3. And over 6 ERA. They checked with the first base ump. They said that he went, and the out is made at first, and Abreu cannot believe it, and neither can Mike Scioscia. A.J. Burnett, a good first inning, retires the Angels in order. The Yankees coming to bat. City can help you right it. Brett Gardner's in left field. He'll lead off. The captain, the shortstop, Derek Jeter, bats second. Batting third in center field, Curtis Granderson. Mark Teixeira's at first base. He'll clean up. Batting fifth, playing second base, Robinson Cano. Nick Swisher's in right field, batting sixth. The number 7 hitter, DH Eric Chavez. Russell Martin will catch. He'll bat eighth, and batting ninth and playing third base, Eduardo Nunez.
Well, as Michael said, the Angels have been doing it with pitching, and Dan Herron's been a big part of it. You look at his overall numbers on the year, and they're going to tell you he's done a very good job. 24 starts, 12-6. Breaks down to 6-3 at home, 6-3 on the road, 2.81 ERA. Opponents batting just .225. Let's take a look at the Los Angeles Angels pitcher scout report brought to you by PNC for the achiever in you. He's won 6 of his last 7 decisions. And how about this? Plus 1,040. He has struck out 1,040 more batters than he has walked. He's a strikeout pitcher with good control. And one way he strikes you out is with a trapdoor splitter. It just drops straight out of the strike zone.
1040, that's like a tax return.
Isn't it? Yeah, I thought you would get that.
Yeah, I'll have to tell Michael that's a tax return number over there.
I'm familiar with it. Here's Brett Gardner. Want to keep him off base. He's stolen 21 straight bases without being caught. And Herron deals. Pitch is high. Well, the Angels were pretty fired up about the strike 3 call on Bobby Abreu, and when we get a chance, we'll show you it, and you can understand why they were pretty fired up. Here's a quick look. Did he hold up?
Yeah,
we'll let the hitter
held up.
Decide. Both of them.
Ooh,
wow.
That's. I wouldn't want that called on me.
You know what? Especially as a first at bat, you come into the game. You want, you're in a new series. You want to get off to a good start. Ball 4 gets you in the rhythm of the game. Strikeout puts you in a bad mood from the first inning.
I mean, that wasn't even close.
No.
It must be rain in the forecast.
I'll tell you one thing. When I was on my way in here today, I think it ran out of rain because it was raining hard. Nothing like listening to Michael Kay, sat in a traffic jam, sitting watching the rain come down.
Yeah, you weren't the only one. I was doing the same thing.
Thank you both.
Yeah.
Man was working double time today, too, on the air by himself.
He's one of the hardest working people I've ever known in my life. I don't know how he does it.
You want us to go on, Michael?
Well, you know what station that is, right?
I kind of forgot I've been out of the Midwest.
1050 ESPN New York from 3 to 7, Monday through Friday. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss, and Gardner down on strikes.
You see how Herron gets his job done. I mean, there's good movement there, good location.
New York Yankees baseball is broadcast in Spanish. It's available by hitting the SAP button on your television. And SAP is brought to you by Toyota. Get incredible deals during Toyota's nationwide clearance event going on now.
You see catching Mathis in off the plate, ball runs right back to the corner. Tough pitch for a lefty to get to. Not much you can do with it other than try to foul it off foul. Foul it off foul. Is that, what do you call those? A double?
That's a double negative. That's a fair ball.
You're not allowed to do that, are you?
Jeter takes a strike.
That was a Bartolo Colon special. Jeter had a good road trip. He went 9 for 26.
You really look at the type of hitter he's been since he's come back since that calf injury. I mean, it's night and day. I mean, he's driven the ball, he's extra base hits. Sometimes a break during the season can help, and in this case it has.
I asked him while he was down rehabbing his calf. I said, it's obvious you were working on other things. He says, it shows. I think he's staying back on the ball a little bit better. He's getting behind it and driving it, as you said.
Yeah, a lot of times early in the season you saw him top balls, and that usually means your front half, or your top half is kind of lunging towards the pitcher, and you end up hitting the top part of the ball. Talk about Dan Herron. I mean, 12-6, that kind of gets your attention, but 2.81 at a starting pitcher in the American League.
It's also impressive he has a whip under 1 for a starter. That's outstanding for anybody, even a reliever. The 1-2. Strike 3. Jeter down looking. Guccione's not making a lot of friends.
You see, this is the same pitch that he ran it Gardner's front hip. He also ran it back. Didn't quite get back. See Derek Jeter kind of has it great.
This is going to be a tough night for the hitters if this continues. That's definitely off the plate. Abreu checked his swing. I mean, we've been here a few minutes and we got 4 strikeouts already.
And I'm sitting up here. Okay.
Well, I'd be yelling from the dugout.
Here's Granderson. 1-0.
Wasn't that terrible? You go back and you're just screaming and howling at that umpire. But the thing is, you hope he doesn't hear you. You just got to get it out because he's going to kick you out if he hears you.
Just use the proper words. Hey, where you got to go?
Yeah.
Was Jeter a couple of moments away? Wow, man.
Sometimes as a player, you know that it's outside. You don't realize how far, but
that one's driven deep to right. See ya. Bullet home run into the second deck and right for Granderson, and the Yankees lead 1-0. His 29th home run of the year.
We talk so much about the home runs and how the Yankees rely on it, but you know, with 2 outs and nobody on, and Dan Aaron just cruising through the first inning, this is what home run power can do. Just out of nowhere. Hanger right over the plate, boom, 1-0. Got
out in a hurry.
I'll tell you what, he hits most of them here at the stadium right in that area.
Teixeira takes a strike.
Now scored 101 runs.
Teixeira hits one deep to right center. Giving chase is Borges. He's there and he makes the play on the track for the final out of the inning. Granderson hits his first home run since July 26, 47 at bats. Gives the Yankees a 1-0 lead. TriState.com. Well, the home run by Granderson changes the league leaderboard, and the leaderboard is brought to you by New York Lottery. Hey, you never know. Bautista still leads at 33. Mark Teixeira right there with 32. Granderson breaks a tie with Berkman with his 29th. Berkman with 28. Those are the Major League Baseball home run leaders.
Yeah, top 4 there. I mean, the one. You know, Curtis Granderson has hit 30 home runs before, but would you have ever guessed coming in this league that Berkman would have a comeback year like that?
Not after last year.
Yeah.
Torrey Hunter takes a strike.
Big Puma's on the prowl again.
There's a base hit to center field, so Torrey Hunter extends his hitting streak to 7 straight games.
Yeah, he's been the hottest of the hitters for the Angels. Michael said 7 straight, 11 out of 12. He's 13 for his last 24. All that kind of good stuff when you hit it. Yeah, that's why you smile at first base. I can't stop myself.
Well, it's funny because like hitting streaks a lot of times are, can be great, or they can be, that 1 for 5 every day where you're not really hitting. But Torrey Hunter's having the hot streak, the hit streak, so it's brought his average up probably to 250 now, but still way below his what the Anaheim Angels or LA Angels, whatever you want to call them, expected to be.
Mark Trumbo takes a strike.
What do we call them tonight?
Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
So we got to throw them both in?
Yeah. 5.63 ERA in innings immediately following run-scoring innings by the Yankees. And the old baseball adage, your team scores, you want to shut down the team the next half inning. That's not happening.
Well, we mentioned the Angels will run under Mike Scioscia. That's always been a staple. Angels, as I mentioned, one of the best base running teams in the league. They have team speed. They go first to third. They will be aggressive on the bases, make outfielders throw them out. They need 2 more steals of the team to have 100 on the year, and that'll be 11 years in a row under Scioscia that they have stolen 100 or more bases.
I guarantee these throwovers are coming from the dugout. I mean, they want to right from the get-go try to tell Mike Scioscia, we're not going to let you run. But if you're on the other side, Kenny, and you're Mike Scioscia, don't you get these guys in motion early? Try to get A.J. Burnett out of his rhythm.
Scioscia's in his 12th year, all with the Angels. And Michael, this kind of happened with Joe Torre. Remember when several of his coaches went off to become managers and good ones? This is happening with Scioscia. Joe Madden was on his staff, and Ron Renicky in his first year with the Milwaukee Brewers has them 3 games in front in the National League Central.
Forgot about Ron Renicky.
Yeah.
I actually played with him in Cincinnati for a while. Nice guy, good baseball guy. Was not a great player, just one of the guys that really studied the game and ended up being a good manager.
I played with Ron Renicky's brother Gary, in Baltimore.
Also lost Bud Black, who was his pitching coach for a while.
That's
now
right.
the manager of the Padres. They're actually in town right now. Across town at Citi Field playing the Mets. One of the rare times that both teams are home at the same time.
As a runner, Candy, sometimes you're not even going to steal a base, but then all of a sudden you look at some of the ex-assistant managers, and they've all become good managers in the major leagues. But back to my point, it almost gets you mad to the point they keep throwing over. It's like, all right, I'm going to steal now. It's 5 times so far.
That actually happened earlier this season with Brett Gardner in Toronto. They threw over so many times it kind of ticked him off, and he turned to Mick Keller, the first base coach, says, I'm still going to go. And he made it.
There's a strike. 2-2.
Kenny, a lot of times when I look back at stealing bases, I mean, you steal on pitches and you steal on curveballs if you can. A.J. Burnett has such a tendency to try to get that strikeout with that ball in the dirt. Great time to run when you're expecting that curveball in the dirt. Too hard for the catcher to come up throwing.
Foul back.
Well, Trumbo is the young man that we featured just prior to the game starting, and he has been a big part of the Angels offense. 27 runs batted in since July 6th with 8 home runs.
And a home run yesterday or the day before in Anaheim off King Felix that they're still talking about. 470 something feet.
You know what? That almost reached where he grew up. He grew up just not far from Angel Stadium. Yeah. The rookie record for the Angels for home runs is held by Tim Salmon. Salmon hit 31 back in 1993, and Trumbo's got a good shot at that this year.
Swung on and missed. Third strikeout for Burnett. Next Monday night, football's back as the Jets play their first preseason game, and My Nine has your ticket. The action starts at 7:30 with the Jets kicking off, or the Jets kickoff presented by Toyota. Then get your first look at Sanchez, Plaxico Burress, and Santonio Holmes as Gang Green takes on the Texans. Jets, Texans, Monday night at 7:30 right here on My Nine.
The Jets might have the most entertaining coach in football. Rex Ryan he's something.
Big Yankee fan, too. He's here as much as I am, Michael. Seems like every time I'm here, he's there with his Yankee jersey on.
I had him on the show yesterday because we did it from Jet Camp. And we were talking about CeCe Sabathia before he got on. I said, you know, CeCe's record was like, I guess 16-5, and he goes 16-6.
Did he correct?
Yeah. He did make an interesting point, because a lot of Yankee fans are panicking over the fact that the Yankees have lost 10 out of 12 to the Red Sox. And he said, what does it mean? He said, last year, we got crushed by the Patriots 49-3. In the playoffs, we beat them. He said, as long as you make the playoffs, you just get your team ready to play that week, and they have to be the better team that week. It doesn't matter what happens during the regular season, as long as it doesn't cost you a playoff spot.
I never put much stock in guys that did well against you during the season, that they were going to do well in the playoffs. Such a different atmosphere, different game. Actually, I hated to face pitchers that we had owned the whole year. It was like they were due to, you know, to shut you down, and you didn't want it to happen during the playoffs.
And we've seen so many instances of it throughout baseball history. Go back across town. The Mets beat the Dodgers 12 out of 13 times during the regular season in 1988. They lost in the playoffs to them. So sometimes it could be an indicator. Sometimes it doesn't mean anything.
Mike Scioscia hit a big home run in that series.
Yes, against Dwight Gooden. AJ has good velocity today. That was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
I don't know that it probably is intentional on Russ Martin, but you know, a lot of fastballs. You haven't seen a lot of breaking balls since Torrey Hunter been on base. A lot of throwovers, a lot of fastballs.
Maybe to keep the pitch count down. Best commanded pitches should be the fastball.
Vernon Wells, sky-high pop-up, right field. Swisher makes the play in fair territory for the second out.
This is, I mean, you're in a fastball count. I mean, you're a veteran hitter. These are the at-bats that's got to drive Mike Scioscia crazy. I mean, the numbers that Vernon Wells put up in Toronto, and then to come here, coming into the game, he hit in 211, 212.
211 now.
Yeah. So it's, you know, you get power hitters, which Vernon Wells has power, in fastball situations. You do not expect them to hit fly balls the other way.
Here's Meister Asturias. And there's the strike. Hot shot and a fair ball. Kicks off the side wall in right field. Nick Swisher plays it quickly. Holds Meister Asturias to a single. Moving to third is Hunter. And the Angels have runners on the corners, 2 outs.
That's called knowing your home ballpark and where to go. You know, some of the visiting players might have run straight for the corner. All of a sudden, they got to come in and get the ball. Now, Swisher sees this one just carry him off the wall down here, down the right field line. Just fair, maybe about 6 inches to a foot. And Swisher's in the right place at the right time. And that's going to hold his Torres to a single. And it also keeps Hunter from scoring all the way from first.
Like pinball when you were young, Michael. You got when to hit the flipper and not the flipper. You got to know those ricochets in right field too.
It's a case of geometry.
No, let's not go there.
It's all about the angles.
There's Peter Borges. Pitch is high. Blinding speed by this young man, 24 years old. 6 hits in his last 19 at bats. And he's an outstanding defender in center.
Have to watch him throughout this series and see, you know, from the eye's view, if we're going to take Brett Gardner or Borges in a race. We'll announce that on like Thursday or something.
Sure.
All right. I'll give you a couple days.
That one is chopped to Jeter. They get the force at second, and that will do it. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We go to the bottom of the second, 1-0 Yanks. The Yankees. Here are your choices. A, Terry Francona. B, Ron Gardenhire. C, Jim Leland. D, Joe Madden. E, Mike Scioscia. Text A, B, C, D, or E to 70377 or go to my9tv.com. Find out the results right after the game. It's Take on Russ, brought to you by Toyota.
That's a tough one.
It is tough.
Cadillac scoreboard, 1-0 Yankees as Cano takes a strike. Chris Guccione strike zone somewhat generous. He's given calls off the inside and outside corner. And I guess the only argument you get is if it changes as the game gets tighter or later. Remember, I once asked Wade Boggs, who always used to get upset at John Hirschbeck's strike zone. John Hirschbeck had a very generous strike zone.
And he wasn't a Lone Ranger, right? He used to infuriate me. Go ahead.
And I just said to Wade, I said, well, you know John Hirschbeck has a wide strike zone. Why don't you go up there thinking that it's, you know, that's what you have to cover? He said, because I've learned the strike zone since I was 7 years old. All these years. Now you want me to unlearn it for one umpire who's not getting it right. He said, that's not fair. He said, that's not the strike zone. The 0-2, swing and a miss. Third strikeout for Herron.
It's a split finger right there, and he sets it up by sinker or slider, but he does have a split finger that he can get a strikeout. You see this ball ends up out of the zone.
There it is, the trapdoor splitter.
Michael, you talk about, to swing at that pitch, and it's if it's off the plate 4 or 5 inches, there's nothing to swing at. You can't do anything with it. So you're just giving yourself up.
Pitching coach Mike Butcher, who's been smiling a lot. His team has the best team earned run average in the league. They got some pitchers who are dealing. Jared Weaver, Herron, Irvin Santana threw a no-hitter. Came back with another complete game.
He's been very good lately. You look at that no-hitter, and then you see him follow it up with another great game, and it reminds me of David Wells, who, I'm telling you, from his perfect game on, was the best, not close, was the best pitcher in the American League from then on. And if he just caught confidence or caught fire or what it was, is this going to be what Irvin Santana is the rest of the years for the Angels?
He caught fire to such an extent, Wells, that he almost pitched another perfect game later that year against the A's. took it into the 7th inning. You see the Angels pitchers first in ERA, 4th in batting average against, and 2nd in WHIP. Swisher grounds out to Kendrick, and there are 2 outs. Here's a great stat. We're talking about Hirschbeck. In 11 career starts with Hirschbeck umpiring, Greg Maddux had a 1.63 ERA. His overall career ERA was 3.16.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And back then, and if you see that look right there, you're talking about a pitch that was out here. And as a hitter, you can't do anything with it. I mean, you can swing, you can hit it off the end of the bat, but you can't. It's not like you can adjust to it. And that's when you get hurt, because you have to start moving closer, start diving out on the plate more, and all of a sudden now that ball in off the plate is at you.
That you normally get out of the way of, all of a sudden it's hitting you.
Well, it's not as drastic as it used to be. First with the advent of Quest Tech, and now the umpires being evaluated on a game-by-game basis.
It's too much video now.
Wow. Glad we don't have that thing. Imagine if we're evaluated on a game-to-game basis, Michael.
We are.
We are?
Yes.
I didn't get that memo.
The 2-1. Hammered foul. Chavez had a good road trip, 8 for 22, a home run, 5 ribbies.
Used to guaranteed you mean these things aren't guaranteed? You have a bad game or something, they just ship you out of here, huh?
Well, you're guaranteed to get heartburn. The 2-2 fouled away.
Michael, you've been here more than I have, and you brought it up a little bit. I mean, Eric Chavez obviously in the DH spot. How much has Jorge talked about it? How much has the team talked about it? Or is this something they're trying to stay away from?
Well, it's been talked about. We'll get into it a little bit later. The count is 2-2, and it's hammered into right field. And it's going to bounce into the seats for a double. Well, it's our first broadcast since it happened before the game on Sunday, but Joe Girardi called Jorge Posada into the office and said, we're not going to play you anymore. We're not going to have you as a DH, and you'll be a bench player. Posada has come out and said, I'm not happy about it, but I kind of put myself into this situation. He talked more about it today. It was got to be a very difficult thing for the organization to do, and for a proud Yankee to accept, but he has not given them the production that they thought they'd get.
Well, you could see it coming. You know, the fact is that Jorge, had one hot streak.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden he's cooled off again. And with Chavez coming off the disabled list and swinging the bat so well, and Nunez doing a pretty good job of filling in for Alex, and of course Alex is coming back in about, who knows?
Could be next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
So the fact is that he's going to play. So Chavez has been the hotter hitter. You could see it coming. But you're right. It's a tough situation. It's always hard to deal with veteran players when they get down towards the end of their careers.
Alex Rodriguez could go into rehab games as early as late this week or this weekend. Grounded to third is Torres. Gets Martin, and that will do it. No runs a hit, no errors, 1 man left. We go to the third. It's 1-0 Yankees. Angels. And as we move along, we'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by Hyundai. People are talking about Hyundai, uncensored. See what they're saying at Hyundai.com. That's a big series, Detroit and Cleveland. As Cleveland tries to gain some ground in the Central. Toronto 1-0 over Oakland, top of the third. Tampa Bay 2-0 over KC. Tampa Bay will follow Anaheim into New York. And Seattle, Texas in about 20 minutes. Boston and Minnesota. Big Papi, a big game against them yesterday, his former team. Atlanta at Florida, top of the first inning. Struggling Reds 1-0 over Colorado, bottom of the second. Mets and the Padres, bottom of the second, scoreless. And the rest starting a little bit later on. Here's Jeff Mathis. And here's a strike. Count 0-1.
It's funny, you talk about the struggling Reds, and if you're in a city with professional sports, and like your baseball team's not doing well, and all of a sudden the football thing's over, you look forward to that. We don't look forward to that. We don't even have a quarterback. Our quarterback doesn't even want to play. What's that tell you?
He'd rather retire than play.
That's not good.
Carson Palmer, he wants to be traded. And I know it was a big blow for you that Ocho Cinco's gone. You and he hung out a lot.
Yeah, that's going to be a challenge for Belichick in New England, I tell you.
The 1-1 fouled away.
You can tell just the way this game's going. You've got two pretty good teams out on the field. I mean, they make the plays. Anaheim, good in the field, good pitching. Just keeps everybody in the game. And, in contrast, when you look back to, Michael, we were working, Oakland and Seattle. Some of the teams that, make mistakes and you have longer innings than you should. These two teams go at it. Two good pitchers on the hill.
Well, you made the observation that he is pounding the strike zone with the fastball. And I think one thing that'll do, he's got a good enough fastball. You just saw it to Jeff Mathis there, blew it right on by him. But that'll keep his pitch count down. If he comes with his best pitch around the zone, Mathis can't catch up to a good 94, 95 mile an hour fastball. Rather than tinkering with a breaking ball, missing the strike zone, all of a sudden a 1-2 count is all of a sudden it's 3-2. The pitch count gets elevated.
Ibar. Oh, what a play by Teixeira. 2 away.
I'll tell you what, you just talk about a reaction. There's no thought whatsoever in here other than just a flat reaction play. Mark Teixeira, this ball's hit right on the nose. Good play. Another base hit save. I almost wonder if, A.J. Burnett could take a page out of Bartolo Colon's book and just, you'll see Colon throw 3-4 innings straight with nothing but fastballs and look dominant. Who I was talking about. You see him looking at the camera there?
He'll pitch against the Angels on Thursday afternoon. Tomorrow it's Ivan Nova. Kendrick bunts and bunts foul.
Yeah, you see the difference here. I mean, 2 outs in the first inning. All of a sudden, Granderson, boom, home run. 2 outs. Anaheim, I mean, they're trying to start a little rally to get a couple hits and maybe a stolen base to score a run. So just shows you how much power can make up when you have power hitters in your lineup like the Yankees.
Michael was talking about Kendrick and his overall average against the Yankees, 352. That's the best against. That's the best of any active player against the Yankees. There's the Angels offense. 13th in runs, 9th in average, 10th in home runs, and 5th in stolen bases. That was a strike in the first inning.
Yeah, you're right.
But even with all those offensive numbers, they've been winning. They've been playing some pretty good baseball. It's been their pitching that's really carried them.
Count 2-2.
In the last 15 series, Mike Scioscia has seen his team go 13-1-1. 13 wins, 1 losses, and they split 1 series.
Since June 13th, they have the best record in the American League, second best record in baseball. Yankees are right behind them. And there's the Red Sox. Swing and a miss. Strikes out Kendrick. Another fastball. Kendrick 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. A 10-pitch third inning. 5 strikeouts for AJ. through 3. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. 1-0 Yanks. Get donuts to get dunked. Go to getdunked.com. That's GETDUNKD.com. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. It's 1-0 Yankees. Shaping up to be a pitcher's duel early between Burnett and Herron. It's going to be 9-1-2 in the Yankee order. Nunez, Gardner, and Jeter. The Yankees lost that heartbreaker on Sunday to the Red Sox and lost amidst the disappointment of losing and Mariano blowing a save. Was a misstep at 3rd base by Eduardo Nunez. The double by Scudero opened the inning, then a bunt was laid down, and for some reason Nunez came charging in. Nobody was covering 3rd. Mariano got to the ball in a hurry. The runner at 3rd would have been out by maybe 10 feet, but Nunez vacated the position he had to be in, and that got lost. He's inexperienced at 3rd. He came up as a shortstop.
And Mariano looked to 3rd, then to realize there's no play, had to hurry to get the ball to 1st, and just got the out at 1st.
Here is that play. If you look, there's nobody at 3rd when Mariano fields the ball.
And he just got Ellsbury at 1st, and this set up the tying run. See, he looks, he knew he had a chance. It wasn't the best of bunts by Ellsbury.
It's a tough play for a 3rd baseman, and you have to read it, but you can't get in too far. He was almost too far before the play started.
I think even before the play starts, Paul, you got to realize it's Mariano on the mound, and he is as good as anybody fielding his position. And he was off the mound in a flash and had that ball and had a chance to make a play at 3rd, but there was nobody there.
Well, you almost have to set up your defense that way. The first baseman charges because the second baseman cover first. The pitcher has to field the ball toward the 3rd base line because there's nobody to throw to if you're trying to advance the runner from 2nd to 3rd.
I'll tell you what, a lot of pitchers right there would just wheel and heave that ball to 3rd, and then
there's nobody there.
The Ferris wheel really starts. So good play by Mariano by watching over there and looking, because a lot of pitchers just field that ball, wheel, and throw.
So Nunez with speed leads off 1st. And Gardner shows bunt, snap throw to 1st, but Trumbo was off the bag.
Catcher's balk right there. Nobody's at 1st.
You know, the thing about the Angels, we talked about their speed, it's the Yankees who are leading the league in stolen bases.
And I think, Michael, again, back to, we listened to you talking to Mike Scioscia on the radio today. I think that's one thing that he pointed out on, you know, how different it was with the Yankees, not only their depth and their power, but how they are running the bases this year. And I think that scares a lot of teams, because you can score runs when your home runs aren't going out.
You know, Scioscia mentioned that when you played the Yankees, it often want to notice how well they ran the bases. They might not have stolen bases, but they ran the bases exceptionally well. He said now there's that added dimension of stealing bases. And early, a lot of people were worried that they were too dependent on the home run. Speaking of running the bases, Nunez goes to throw. Not in time. Stolen base for Nunez. Good throw by Mathis.
It really was, and it was a late call by the umpire, and it's like by the time he made the call, he was blocked out. To see this on the replay. Definitely in there.
Yeah, left hand gets in there. His 17th stolen base of the year. It's like Ibar just held the ball there and then decided, oh, okay, I'll tag him.
A lot of times, you know, those swing tags will knock that hand and arm off the base.
Push bunt. Foul.
A lot of times that runner has to kind of hook that base to stop his momentum, and sometimes they'll slide right off. These replays, nice.
Nice.
Oh, man. Remember years ago when they first started showing replays, the replay was what you just saw. Nowadays, you get the slow-mo, different angles.
Oh, yeah. I tell you
frame by frame.
Really, you know, it really makes the umpires look bad because you see, you know, when they miss calls. In the old days, you know, you wouldn't see. You see Brett Gardner go out of the zone trying to bunt.
A little too anxious. Trying to get Nunez over. This is going to be a tough ball to bunt. And Herron threw it up there for a reason. Make it difficult. That was well out of the zone.
You got to realize now, Brett Gardner as a left-handed hitter, all right, you didn't get your bunts down, but you can still get a pitch, put it in play to the right side, get the same thing done, possibly even drive one in.
Popped up. And on the roof of the dugout. What do you think about the bunt there? It's the third inning. You're up 1-0. You're a good hitter, a 280 hitter. Don't you want him to pull the ball rather than bunt?
Well, I almost think if, you know, the first pitch, especially, he was going to try to bunt for a hit. But at that point, when the third baseman knows you're trying to make him field the ball, I think you almost have to take it with you if you're going to try to bunt for a hit. Either way, you're going to get Nunez over to third. But as a left-handed hitter, sure, I think you take your chances and try to hit one hard.
It could go through, and then you've got to rally. If you bunt, did he hold up? Yes, he did.
I think the thing is that Gardner's a good bunter. Well, he hasn't been in this at-bat, but usually he is. He's pretty steady, getting the ball down. And against Herron, you know, sometimes you got to realize you might not get that many opportunities. You just build a run here, build one on.
Dan Herron, I mean, he throws strikes, but his pitch count gets up there too, and it's because what you've seen here. He throws a lot of strikes, gets a lot of foul balls, so different way of getting your pitch count up. Same thing, but he's got to realize he's got to get Gardner out here because Derek Jeter will move them both over.
Yankees run, a 2-out home run in the first inning by Curtis Granderson, his 29th of the year. Grounded, left side. Grabbed there by Asturias. Makes the out at first, and Nunez stays put at second.
Nice play by Asturias at third. And one thing you saw from Ibar, he realized that the third base was unoccupied. He ran over to cover third.
Again, pitch out of the zone, tries to slap the other way, but again, defense. I mean, it makes such a difference when guys are making plays. See the shortstop coming over. I mean, what a play on both ends to get an out, keep Nunez at second base. lot of times as a runner, as Nunez, you see that third baseman field the ball, you can actually, kind of time it and even go over on the throw. I'll tell you what, Ibar makes a good play getting over there.
The 0-1 inside.
I'll tell you what, it's tough to stay on top of a pitch when it's this high, and it's actually harder to pull a ball when it's that high. Especially as a slap hitter, ball's just out of the zone. He was trying to do too much of putting the ball in play, not taking the walk. And he got in that swing mode, fouled off a couple.
Now you saw Jorge talking with Gardner there. How tough is it going to be for Jorge to accept, a quote-unquote demotion and still contribute in that way, being a leader?
Well, I tell you one thing, you never give up on guys that you've played the whole year with, and you start to talk more about experiences when you're not part of the game. But
grounded to short. He thought about going to third. He'll take the out at first.
And again, back to the point of defense. I mean, these just look like ground balls, easy ground balls in your scorebook over there, Michael. But these are tough plays. I mean, these guys are making all the plays.
I think the players on the team respect Jorge, especially the younger ones. He's the man with the rings. He's got 5 of them, so he's been through the wars, so to speak. And certainly worth listening to.
There's no doubt. And I do think when you step back a little bit, you don't have a choice, but when you're not playing, you do kind of step back and you realize all the situations because you're not part of them. Now you're sitting on the bench, you do talk more. And, I have all the respect in the world for that guy right there, for what he's done in the past and what he's going to do. Hopefully he's got some big hits ahead of him. But he can help a lot of people in certain situations, especially an ex-catcher. You've seen so much behind the plate.
One, 2-1. With his 29th home run, Granderson scored his 101st run. It's more than anybody else has in the majors. In fact, it's 17 more than any other player has at this point.
Another good swing.
See Heron at 90. I mean, he threw a lot harder in the old days, but he's probably a better pitcher. But he sets up that 90 with good movement, and he also has that split finger where you see the first 3 innings or so. A.J. Burnett's been in 95. It's been overpowering. Something off that in 85.
This is the 17-run differential between Granderson and Ellsbury, and then you have Bautista and Reyes. And Reyes back on the DL. That's going to stay at 80 for a while. Same left hamstring problem that put him on the DL before.
It's a shame.
2-2. Swing and a miss.
Tough pitch.
Aaron strikes out Granderson. So the leadoff walk does not hurt as the Yankees strand 1. We play 3. 1-0 Bombers. Fiat trivia question. Fiat introducing the 2012 Fiat 500. Visit fiatusa.com to find a studio near you. Derek Jeter has 3,001 hits as a shortstop. Now he has 3,029 total. Who's the last player to have 3,000 career hits at one position? If you want to know how Derek's hits break down, 27 as a designated hitter and 1 as a pinch hitter. That's how he gets the other 28. Here's Bobby Abreu. There's a strike. You know, when Sosha brought up the fact that his veterans have to give him more, Abreu, Hunter, Wells, I brought up to him, I said, you know, they are old. They're older. And nowadays, older players actually do get older. I said, maybe they're on the downside of their career. And he said, well, I'm not asking them to have these great years. I'm just asking them to come close to what they did before. They're not. He said, we need them to step up.
And so she talking about his offense. The Angels have been held to 1 run or less 28 times.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
Lofted to left field. Gardner's there for the first out.
Well, fans, tomorrow the Yankees continue this series with the Angels here at the stadium. Coverage on YES starts at 6 with the Audi batting practices today and the Tri-State Ford pregame. Then after the postgame, catch a new GMC Presents Center Stage with Michael Kay featuring legendary NBA coach Larry Brown. It all starts tomorrow at 6, only on YES. Larry Brown.
Bring them all out.
It was very good.
I'm sure he was.
Ground ball up the middle, another base hit for Hunter.
Wow. Again, Sangles, I think that you have to put him in motion. I think you have to make something happen. A.J. Burnett's throwing strikes. Trying to move the defense a little bit. And Mike Scioscia's probably has all his veteran players on their own, but every once in a while as a manager you want to run steal sign. Even when you're on your own, Kenny, you remember there is a steal sign, and when you get the steal sign, whether you get a jump or not, you're going.
Well, the only player on his team tonight that is under 500 trying to steal bases is Torrey Hunter. He's only stolen 3 out of 9. So he's not as quick as he used to be. He maybe can pick his spots a little bit better. You see that from the veteran base stealers. They're not as fast as they used to be, but they know how to pick their spots and still pick up stolen bases. But it's an acquired talent.
Go again. He flew over there 7 or 8 times last time Hunter was on base. See that grin? It kind of makes me mad, Kenny, because I used to see that grin when he used to run line drives down in Minnesota that you thought were base hits. Such a great defensive player. And, you know, in the midst of me throwing my helmet down, I'd look over and he'd be kind of grinning on the way in.
9 gold gloves. You helped him win them.
Thank you very little.
It must have been pretty tough for him, though, when Borgios came to the team and they asked him, what? We'd like you to move to right field. We got a youngster we think is pretty solid defensively. He's got more speed. But to his credit, he went over and didn't say much about it.
High fly ball. Deep right. Swisher back. Track. Wall. He makes the play. Tagging is Hunter. The throw to second, not in time.
I'll tell you what, Torrey Hunter, he's tagging up on a ball. Nick Swisher makes a great play, but I tell you what, when you hit this ball, if you pass him going around first base while he's tagging up, you're out. To the wall, makes a good solid play, and makes a good throw too.
I'll tell you what, I don't think Trumbo hit that ball all that well, and it almost went out of the park.
You see this, you're tagging up. I mean, this ball goes out of the ballpark, and Trumbo passes him, he's out.
Rip Vernon Wells.
These are the at-bats that Mike Scioscia is talking about, Michael, when he talks about the veterans need to step up. Big outs, in a game, 2 men, 2 outs, men in scoring position.
Team hits 241 with men in scoring position. Wells is actually above the team average, 253.
See, I'm interested to see if anything changes here. A.J. Burnett has had all kind of success just pounding the fastball, throwing the ball by people. All of a sudden now you get in a big situation with the man in scoring position. Does he stay with that, or does he go back to his curveball trying to get strikeout? Slider there. It's funny when everything's going well and you just stay with that fastball, but Kenny, when you get in a big position, you start seeing sliders and curveballs again. It just tells me that you just don't trust that style of pitching yet.
When Wells was with the Blue Jays, he hit very well against the Yankees.
Two-one, and they have Hunter held up, but he gets back. The throw comes into Cano. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees.
Talking about Wells against the Yankees while he was with Toronto. In the 12 years, he had 28 home runs against the Yankees. He was tied with Carlos Delgado for the most ever by any Blue Jays against the Yankees.
Swing and a miss. Blew it right by him. So he went with the fastball. Strikeout number 6 for Burnett. No runs a hit. 1 man left. Go to the bottom of the 4th. Yankees up 1-0. Career hits at one position. Willie Mays, 31-84 as a center fielder.
I like Willie.
He could play. He could do it all.
Where'd the say hey come from? What was that all about?
I think that when he first got to the big leagues, he started almost every sentence would say hey.
Well, he did that. Well, this is a reason he didn't remember people's names.
Yeah.
So if he saw you coming down the block, that one is lined to right field. Hunter makes a play and he didn't know your name was Paul, he'd go, hey, say hey.
Wow, I like that.
Yeah.
See, I learned stuff up there.
And he became the say hey kid.
Pretty good player, too.
And then became a Hall of Famer. I actually got a chance to take a picture with Willie Mays at a Hall of Fame ceremony a few years ago. It's on my desk at home.
You and Willie.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that you see even today, and he still has that, like, that boyish look to him. You know, he stays young. He's getting old, but he stays young.
It looks like he could take you deep.
My dad had that thing where he could never remember anybody's name, but he just would kind of mumble at the end. Hey, how you doing? But, you know, you didn't know if he knew it or not.
That's a base hit for Cano.
That's a base hit for Cano.
So if he was a player, he'd have been Mumbles O'Neill.
That's how they do it in Nebraska. You just mumble it if you don't know. Typical Robbie Cano right there. Tailing fastball off the plate. And you see that little hesitation. Oh, I've been there before. You hit it, but you don't know if it's going to get over his head. So you just kind of sit and wait and watch. Good feeling when you see Ibar not come down with it.
Well, he really got up there. Man. Got some good hops.
He'd rather have the good hops on the ground.
Yeah.
Here's Nick Swisher. He grounded to second. 6 for 26 on the road trip, hitting 267. High fly ball. Right field. Hunter back. On the track. He'll make the play in front of the wall.
That was really weird because at first, Hunter, it looked like he was trying to deceive Cano and act like, you know, he had an easy beat on it. And then I thought I was way out. You know, outfielders, a lot of times when you stand there, you try to hold that runner. I'm going to give his money back, too. I like that. See, Torrey Hunter, who said he was a pretty good guy.
Oh, the guy dropped his glasses.
Was that it?
And he wanted to pay him for his help. Yeah, Hunter doesn't need you.
I like you. He stole a lot of my hits, but I like you now.
Well, he doesn't need the cash, that's for sure.
I don't know. You see the stock market lately?
Yeah.
Chavez doubled in the second inning. Stock market had a little Rodman today. A little rebound.
A little rebound.
That just came off the top of your head.
Yeah.
Right? Here's a look.
Here's the glasses. So the guy thinks he's at Pearl Vision.
Yeah. I told you he likes to smile.
He got a kick out of it. I would have too. I probably would have kept the money though. Back in the day.
Might have been $5. Can't even get a beer for $5 anyway.
Remember when they were throwing all the Reggie bars? Remember that, Michael?
I do. I was at that game as a fan.
Did you chucked your Reggie bar?
No,
you probably interfered before they even started it, right?
I'll tell you, that was really good.
Yeah.
Michael's bumping that guy. You going to throw yours out there? Just give it to me.
I couldn't believe people were throwing it out there.
Oh, my goodness.
Because Reggie had a flair for the dramatic hit a home run the day they gave out his candy bars in the stadium. So it's like a hat trick in hockey. It was like a big, fat, round Baby Ruth bar. A little more gooey.
Was it caramel?
Yeah, it was great.
Have nuts in it?
Yep.
It must have been all out by the time I got to 10.
Pitch is inside, so Chavez walks. And Cano moves to second. Take the Yankees with you wherever you go this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Yankees game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Yankees.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Here's Russell Martin. Russell grounded to third with a runner on second. That was in the second. So runners on first and second, 2 outs. Here in the fourth. And he's going to ground to third again. As Torres goes the short way, and that will do it. No runs a hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base. So some optometrists work out in right field. and a little tip. On our sister station, Fox 5. It all starts at 4 p.m. as the Bombers look to put another one in the win column in the tight battle for the top of the American League East. Yankees, Rays, Saturday at 4 p.m. on Fox 5. Yankees lead 1-0 as we go to the fifth. On the scoreboard, just brought to you by McDonald's. Stop by McDonald's today for some juicy, tender chicken McNuggets. Bottom third of the order against Burnett. Meister's Torres will lead off. He's singled to right in the second inning, so he's 1 for 1. If you look at his Torres, he's their third baseman. He has 5 home runs. So at a traditional power position, they just don't have that. And it's a little strange because the Angels are obviously a big market team. A stone's throw away from LA. And they have a really good owner, Artie Moreno. But over the last couple of years, they've set their sights on free agents, and they will not go the extra mile. Everyone thought they were going to sign Adrian Beltre. And they didn't. They let him get away because the price got too high. And boom, he goes to Texas. And that's the team that's leading them by a game and a half. And, you know, everybody thought that they were going to go after CC Sabathia. They did not. There have been a lot of those type of players that they just did not go the extra mile to get.
So they probably ought to put some of that money in Mike Scioscia because he's able to bring out a lot from these guys to keep these guys in the race every single year.
And they also thought that they would retain Mark Teixeira when they had him.
Yep.
But Teixeira's an East Coast guy, and he wanted to get back on the East Coast.
Now, one thing they did right, they didn't give Sean Figgins the money, and the Mariners did. And that hasn't been good for them at all. He has lost his skills as a player. Hammered, right field, base hit for Torres, his second of the night.
He likes the high fastball, doesn't he, Paul? Yeah.
I tell you what, and you know, to think about that, Michael, everybody talks about players that are traded to New York and are they going to be able to play in New York? You know, going to the West Coast is a different animal too. I mean, you're out there, the times change. There's so many other things. It's sunny every day. It's not your typical place to play baseball. Some people could deal with it. Some people kind of just go off to La La Land and never perform the way they should have. You ever think you could play out there?
I thought it was a little laid back. You know, I grew up on the East Coast, so I was always an East Coast sort of guy. And I'd go out there, and it just didn't seem to have the same excitement. You know, the Angels have great fans. Don't get me wrong, and they pack their ballpark. I think they're second to the Yankees in attendance, and they get excited when they're behind in a game. They can, you know, root on a rally as good as anybody in the league.
But I mean, you look on the other side. When I was with the Reds, you'd go into one of the most traditional ballparks in the world, Chevis Ravine, the Dodgers. third inning, half the people weren't even there. Seventh inning, half the people had already left. They did. I mean, that's a great organization, but you're right. It's not in your face every pitch baseball like it is on the East Coast.
Well, you got to remember the East Coast teams have been, there's more generations of baseball fans who've been passed on and passed on and passed on.
1-1. Check swing.
Wonder why they put that net up over on the dugout. Check swing line drive right off the net. That was ricocheting in the dugout years ago. I guess that'd be in the other stadium, though, wouldn't it, Mike?
It would, and that's one of the reasons they put up the fences. What happened to Don Zimmer? Got hit in the side of the head. The next day, he had on the Army helmet.
The Army helmet the next day.
Well, AJ has only thrown 61 pitches, but he's thrown about 20 balls to first base.
Yeah, they're really trying to shut down that running game. Torrey Hunter didn't run. He finally did on a tag up to deep right, but you've got to believe they want to try to put some guys in motion to see if they can rattle AJ Burnett a little bit.
Foul tipped. Martin saying I caught it on the fly. No, he's saying caught it on the fly, but they're going to give him a new baseball. Joe thought he caught it on the fly.
He tried to sell it. No, you saw it bounce.
Very clearly. It's a tough sell.
But the thing is, it didn't look like he fouled the ball off. Huh?
Grounded to third. Nice play by Nunez. Off balance throw to first. Borges is too fast. So runners on first and second, nobody out.
He can run. Paul, you're right. He can fly.
Michael, I hope you observed that, because my question will come back in a few days.
This is his 23rd infield hit of the year. Let's give him one more. 24. That's good. That's a tough play for Nunez. Off balance in foul territory.
Or Hopper over to first. It's kind of tough to throw him out with that, isn't it?
So Gardner leads the American League along with Juan Pierre, 32 infield hits, and it's Ichiro and Borges. Let's see if Jeff Mathis bunts. Yankees are expecting it. Squares. Takes a strike.
Be interesting to watch Nunez on this play. You know, watch how he reacts at third. He's in on the grass. If AJ can't get the ball on that side, that's when he's going to have to charge. Now he saw the pitch go back to the catcher, and then he retreated towards third. Let's see what happens here.
Mathis has 9 sacrifice bunts this year as AJ fakes the second.
Talk about a position that's not offensively carrying its weight. And Jeff Mathis, I mean, you look at his numbers came into the game hitting 181 with 2 homers, 15 RBIs. You think, wow, maybe he's a backup. He's pretty much their starting catcher.
Yeah. He's a very solid defensive catcher.
Just missed on the outside corner with that.
See Nunez retreat once the ball goes to the catcher. He doesn't want his tourist sneaking in the third with a stolen base. These are one of the point of the game where the little things can mean a lot in these tight ball games.
Bunted in front of the plate. They have 1 out to make, and they make it at first, but they're going to say it's a foul ball.
Yeah, he bunted it twice. Ball came up and hit the bat, and here comes Mike Scioscia to argue about it.
A double hit in golf costs you a couple strokes, you know that?
And now Mike's going to take his case out to Mike Winters, who's the crew chief.
You think Mike Winters has said, you know what, Mike, I really don't know. I wasn't paying that much attention to it. But, I mean, obviously, we're going to get the replay, so we'll be able to see.
Now, he's in the box. If it comes up again and hits his bat, it's a foul ball. And it does.
Yeah. What a call.
That's a tough call. The
Got
body's
jammed
right
on the
front.
second hit, too. Did you see it? Right in on the handle.
So let's see if they take the bunt off with 2 strikes. But with a 181 hitter, you probably let him bunt again.
Yeah, these are the little things we're talking about. It's his job to get the runners across. I mean, the Yankees are up only by 1 run. He has a chance to put the tying run at third and 1 out, and the go-ahead run at second with 1 out.
Again, you can't forget that you've got 2 guys that can run on base, too. You might end up double stealing.
And he gets down a beautiful bunt. You score at 5-3. The runners move up.
Again, with 2 strikes, last chance. Make the third baseman. Nunez has to field the ball. Only 1 play to first. Good job by Mathis with 2 strikes.
He now breaks a tie with Ibar. Mathis now has 10 sack bunts. He leads the Angels in that category. When you hit 181, you better be able to bunt
and catch.
The Yankees in at the corners, so they can come home with a ground ball there. They're back at second and short for Ibar. Very good speed on the bases. There's a ground ball to first. They're going to come home. Chasing him back to third is Martin. There's the second out, and moving to second is Ibar.
Michael pointed out earlier the Angels haven't been particularly good with runners in scoring position this year.
I'll tell you what, though, Mark Teixeira, I mean, defensively, you know he'll do the right thing. In the past, there's been first basemen who won't throw the ball home. They'll go get the easy out right there. He comes home, makes a good throw. Turris does a good job to make Russell Martin turn his back and chase him down.
Now here's Howie Kendrick, who has been overpowered twice by Burnett. 2 strikeouts and 2 at-bats. Second and third, 2 outs. Breaking ball away. Now Kendrick has some power. He has 8 home runs, and if you look at Granderson in center, very, very shallow. Also shallow is the left fielder Gardner.
You can tell by the defense. I mean, his approach is out here in the right center field. You see Granderson really sliding over. I tell you what, you hang a breaking ball and you hit one into left center, it's a sure triple.
Well, you're gonna have to rely on Gardner's speed to shut that gap.
That one is driven to right field, but right there is Swisher, and that'll do it. So Burnett works into and out of trouble. No runs, 2 hits, no errors. 2 men left. We're halfway through. Yankees up 1-0. Engineering. August 9th, 1994, the Yankees hold Phil Rizzuto Hall of Fame night at Yankee Stadium. The Scooter.
Holy cow.
You miss him. 5-time All-Star, won the MVP in 1950, 7 World Championships, made the Hall of Fame in 1994. Yankee broadcaster from 57 to 96. And his number 10 retired. Nunez takes a strike on the McDonald's scoreboard. Yankees lead 1-0. You know, we talked about the Posada situation earlier, and whenever people write about something like that, they always bring up Rizzuto in 1956. A great Yankee, 7 World Championships, MVP, as we mentioned, in 1950, and they just unceremoniously released him on Old Timers Day in 1956.
I mean, when you don't grow up here, you don't hear stories. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and the way they did it was just awful. They had Casey Stengel call him into the office because they had acquired Enos Slaughter. They said, well, who do we get rid of?
Yeah.
Who do you think we get rid of here to make room for? And Phil's going, well, how about him? No, we're going to keep him. Well, how about him? No, we're going to keep him. He's going down the list. And then Phil goes, well, the only one left is me. That one's driven to left field, and it's foul. And he goes, well, yeah, we're going to release you.
And then immediately come to the booth, or no?
No. This is a lesson for all you youngsters, even adults that are listening. It's a lesson I learned. Phil told me, he said, I wanted to just rip them. Everybody was calling me, all the riders. I wanted to destroy them. He said, but I just locked myself in the house. High fly ball, deep left, Wells back. And he'll make the play in front of the track. For the first out, he said, I didn't say a word to anybody. He goes, and then they offered me the broadcasting job. He said, I had a second career. He said, if I had done what I was going to do and just burnt the bridge, he said, I never would have become a broadcaster with the Yankees.
Never heard holy cow.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So you hate to see what's happening with Posada, but there's certainly precedent throughout the major leagues. And you talk about, I was talking with Dave Winfield about it the other day. He said, there really is never really that happy of an ending at the end of a career, unless you walk away with something left. Here's Gardner. You did, Paul. I mean, they still wanted you back, and you know nobody forced you out. You just decided to leave after 2001.
Yeah, I mean, going into the season, I knew that was it. But again, looking back, you're right. I was happy. The Yankees were happy, and it was easier for me that way.
Popped up. Leaning in is Mathis, but he does make the play. Just missed. How did it end for you, Kenny? Was it bitter?
It wasn't the way I wanted it.
Right.
But usually you don't get it the way you want it. You know, I was basically not played for the last 3 weeks of the season. They just wouldn't play. After I hit 2 grand slams and a 3-run homer.
Right.
They knew they didn't want me back the next year.
So they didn't want you to finish strong.
They didn't want me to finish strong.
Don't get hot, huh?
Yeah, because the fans would say, well, we'll bring him back. I mean, he's doing okay.
Right.
But, you know, I knew it wasn't going to be that way.
Yeah, there are just very few happy endings.
So, you know, I knew I didn't want to play for another team. And I just said, well, that's it. I'll do something else. And I've been doing it ever since.
Michael, I'm going to start keeping note now. In September, at the end of the year, I start getting cut out of the segment 1s and segment 2s. I know it's coming, man.
You're back in there tomorrow.
You always want to be cut out of the postgame, though. Yeah. That you're happy about.
Postgame's optional, isn't it?
In your world. So there's 2-way here in the bottom of the 5th. The Yankees lead this one 1-0. That's going to bring up Derek Jeter. You know another guy left on his own terms? Pettit.
Yeah.
They wanted him back.
I'm really surprised, though, when he did not come back, that there wasn't more. You know, is he coming back in May? Is he? You know, there wasn't really a lot of talk.
Because he shut it down.
Yeah.
He said, "I'm not coming back this year for sure." He said, "Next year you can never say." He said, "I think I'm done forever, but I will guarantee you I'm not coming back this year."
Talked to Andy a few times during the year. He's addicted to golf now. He went to Lake Tahoe, and now he's really addicted to golf for that tournament. So
that'll do it.
Still enjoys coming to New York once in a while, but when you get down in Texas, I think you get lost down there. When you go to those ranches and stuff, you may never be heard from again.
That's a ground ball to Kendrick, and that'll do it as the Yankees go down in order 1, 2, 3. We play 5 here at the stadium, and on my 9, the Yankees lead this one 1-0.
Nissan. It's Nissan's bottom line sales event, and we're laying it all on the line. Visit choosenissan.com or your local dealer today. Not much on that scoreboard, Mike.
What's happening? It's rolling along. 1-0 Yankees lead. Tampa Bay 4-0 over Kansas City, bottom of the 7th. Texas and Seattle 2-2. As we enter the 6th inning, A.J. Burnett's pitched very well. Minnesota 2-0 over Boston. Abreu, Hunter, and Trumbo against the Yankee right-hander. So far, his platinum blonde hair agrees with him. There's a strike.
A lot more fastballs. He's thrown the breaking ball with men in scoring position, but love the way he's just relying on his fastball to just pound it.
Bobby Abreu is the anti-Vladimir Guerrero. Guerrero swings. How many times did he swing at the first pitch, Michael?
A lot.
Almost every time.
Yeah.
Abreu last year went to the plate 685 times. 635 times he took the first pitch.
Wow.
So that tells you those other times he really thought he knew what was coming. He's going to jump on it.
It's funny, though, those 50 some odd times that he did swing at the first pitch scares you off of just laying it in there.
Exactly. Especially in tight ball games.
Yep. One, two. Fouled away.
Breaking ball. And it's, you know, in the pregame we said really there was no way to sugarcoat it that A.J. Burnett was bad his last time out in Chicago. Season high 7 earned runs, 13 hits, and then you look up at the scoreboard today, he's throwing a shutout against the Anaheim Angels. So good bounce back start for him. You see when he's missing up in the zone, it's intentional there. You saw a high target there where, you know, in the pregame we showed a lot of hits from Chicago in his last outing, and it was up in the zone. And a sinker ball pitcher, everybody knows, does not want to be up in the zone.
3-2. Hammered to right field. That's going to be over the head of Swisher and over the wall. A home run for Abreu. Into the short porch and right, and the game is tied at 1.
Getting stuck with the fastball. Bobby Abreu, the only thing you hope is as a Yankee fan is it hooks down and hits the wall. Hard hit line drive, looked like a fastball up in the zone.
It was right there, and he got the good wood on it. Line drive that carries. And that run scored by Abreu is the 1400th of his career.
You know, Kenny, that's the ball right there that I see a difference in this stadium and the old stadium. That little line drive into right center that reaches the seats, a lot of times played off the wall in the old stadium. There's one area out there that I think plays a little different. Other than that, you've got to hit the ball like you did in the old ballpark. Yeah, I'd say from about here over to there is kind of the hot spot now, where in the old days I think you still had to hit it.
High fly ball. Right field. Swisher makes the play. And that was a little ice cream cone. Before the game, a nice moment as the Yankees honored some key volunteers who have made it their mission to improve the health habits of all Americans. You see Star Jones there, Dr. Richard Hodish, and also Curtis Granderson. And the Yankees and the American Heart Association and the American Stroke Association are trying to beat those diseases. Their goal is to improve heart health of all Americans by 20% and reduce death and disability from heart disease and stroke by 20% by 2020. So a little ceremony before the game.
Star Jones in her Yankee pinstripes.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah,
He's a heart disease survivor.
I'll tell you one thing. I watched a few of my wife got addicted to The Apprentice. I thought that Nene, was that her name? Nene was going to beat her up one night on air.
Count 2-0.
Very smart woman. You can tell when she talks. She knows what she's talking about.
She's a lawyer.
Huh?
She's a lawyer.
Yeah. Nisi? Is that her name?
The other woman, Niecy Nash.
There you go.
Nene's a basketball
I told you,
player.
if I would have used my dad, I would have just mumbled, and you'd never know I ripped the name up.
Nene's a basketball player.
Nene. You know, I'm 0 for 3 now. Now it's Nene.
Count 3-0. Trumbo hit a deep fly ball to right field in the 4th. Now the count 3-0. Trumbo is at first base for the Angels, and it's a terrible, terrible story. One of the better young first basemen in baseball is Kendrys Morales. And a couple of years ago, actually last year, he had a walk-off home run and then made the leap onto home plate. He broke his ankle. And they thought he'd be back by this year. And it continues to hurt him, and they had to have more surgery. And now there's some doubt about, is he ever going to return to what he once was? So they were kind of stuck. That's why they had to go with a kid at first base.
Think about Trumbo. Last year in the Pacific Coast League, led the league in home runs and runs batted in. So he was making a bid to play in the big leagues. And as we had mentioned, he was born in Anaheim and now lives in Orange, California, which is right down the road.
Like I said earlier in the telecast, he hit a home run on Sunday. They said it's the farthest ball hit in Anaheim this year, 470 some feet. So he has the power. I mean, it's no shock that he's in his 20s and home runs already.
Well, this is what they lost with Morales. In 09, he hit .306, 34 homers, and 108 ribbies. Last year in 51 games before he got hurt, .290, 11 home runs, and 39 ribbies. And celebrating a walk-off home run, and your career has changed forever.
You know, a lot of teams changed the way they celebrated the walk-off home runs they gave the hitter plenty of room to cross home plate. Then they would sort of pound on.
High fly ball, deep left center, backing up Granderson, and he'll make the play on the lip of the warning track. Tagging is Trumbo, and he gets in there ahead of the tag.
Oh, Michael, you talked about it. Here it is.
Bottom of the 10th inning. Oh,
ouch.
Kind of hard to watch.
Poor guy.
Now, I've noticed it's been a while since that happened, and whenever you see a walk-off on TV nowadays, guys are leaping back on home plate again. You know, and for a while, each team kind of told their guys to calm down, no celebrations.
They're going to intentionally walk Meister Asturias, and that's almost thrown away. Asturias 2 for 2, so they'll pitch to Peter Porges.
You know, talking about Asturias and people that Michael, you were talking about, he has relatively not much power. But the fact is that he is a career about .311 hitter with runners in scoring position. It always seems like he comes up with hits in big situations. So that's another reason that Joe Girardi is going to pass him along and move on to the next hitter.
Asturias 8 for 21 against AJ, so they didn't want to deal with that. Now you got to think how good Borges must be in center field. He forced them to move Torrey Hunter, a Gold Glove winning center field, to the right, and Vernon Wells, a Gold Glove winning center field, to the left. That's how good Borges is in center. And he's 1 for 2 tonight. Pitch outside.
And you talked about it, it's all about speed. And as you get older, some of these guys are better corner outfielders, still great outfielders, but you got a young guy with this type of speed. Torrey Hunter, I mean, he was on more highlight reels than anybody in his day.
Borges was on the DL earlier this year, and the Angels called up a youngster, Mike Trout, from New Jersey.
Mike Trout.
And I saw him in a couple of games. He hit his first major league home run at Camden Yards. Talk about a guy who looks like he's going to be a great major league player. He turned 20 since he came to the big leagues, but he was 19 when he got called up. So he's been sent back to the minors, but he's going to be back soon.
So in Angel history, you've had Trout and Salmon in the outfield.
That's correct.
Tim Salmon, I never could understand. He could never get off to a good start. He hit like 100 with 2 home runs in April, but every year he ended up with 100 RBIs, 30 home runs.
The 2-1. Now 2-2.
Yeah, Mike Trout is born in Millville, New Jersey, and I believe he still lives there.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. 1-1 game, top of the 6th. The pitch high. That gives the base runners a little bit of an advantage as they'll take off on 3-2 and 2 outs.
I realize Anaheim, I mean, they're chasing the Yankees in the wild card, but they're chasing the Texas Rangers. These are big games, big series. You figure you're coming to New York. Weaver isn't pitching, Santana isn't pitching. Tough series for them. They got to battle and try to figure out a way.
Runners go, 3-2. He walked them. So after the home run, a walk, an intentional walk, and a walk have loaded the bases, and Larry Rothschild will come out. Don't miss a Yankee Stadium tradition. Tomorrow night, when the Yankees take on the Angels, it's cap night at the stadium. The first 18,000 guests in attendance will receive a Yankees cap courtesy of Starter. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com. Visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or you can call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849.
Better cut that radio show off a little short and get over here. Huh? You won't be for the first 18,000. You'll go home hatless.
I will go home hatless. So the Yankee bullpen will start to get busy. That's Corey Wade and Boone Logan. Well, it's not the worst thing in the world that you walk Borges, who's, you know, dangerous, because now you're facing a guy who's hitting 180, but you got to get him out. You got to make sure that he lives up to that average. Check swing. He goes. And now he's thrown out Mike Scioscia. And Scioscia climbs over the railing, and here we go.
I don't understand it. I don't understand why you should be listening to the manager in the dugout after strike one. You, Kenny?
Well, he heard it from him earlier in the game. And Chris Guccione heard him again. And that's all he wanted to hear. You know, you can't argue balls and strikes. Mike's getting his money's worth now. I don't blame him.
I mean, you saw the check swing early in the game where he did not get the benefit of the call.
Let's see. Did he go around?
No, I believe that was I think he did, as opposed to Abreu, who didn't.
Right. This was at least arguable.
Yeah, but it drove me crazy as a hitter. An umpire's supposed to be watching the ball. Striker ball. Why is it his job to call that a strike and then listen to what they have to say in the dugout?
That one is driven deep to center field. Granderson back, still back. It's over his head, and it bounces over the wall. 2 runs will score. A huge double for Mathis, and the Angels have taken a 3-1 lead.
Well, Michael, you said it. You walked the bases loaded, and you got to a guy that you should be able to get out. Came into the game hitting 181. But he seemed to start missing after he gave up a home run early in the inning to Bobby Abreu. Bases loaded. They actually caught a break by that ball bouncing over the fence.
Looked like a hanging breaking ball. And Mathis, despite the fact that he's a 181 hitter, you hang breaking balls to any major league hitter with a bat in his hand, he's probably going to hit it.
And the interesting thing is A.J. Burnett has been so good, especially early in the game, at really pounding fastballs. He got away from the curveball, but in big situations it seems like he goes back to it. He just does not trust his ability to throw the ball by people, which he did early in the game.
The 0-1. Missed outside, 1-1.
Yeah, just a hanging slider, and that just becomes a very mediocre fastball. Kind of a hitter's delight, especially with men in scoring position. And the Anaheim Angels have not had a lot of that this year. Big hit for them right there.
The 1-1. 1-2.
Again, if you're A.J. Burnett, you're disappointed. You gave up a huge hit, but you got to realize that you've got to save these other runs. You cannot give them a couple more runs with the way Heron's throwing the ball.
The 1-2. And it gets past Martin. Here comes Burgess, and he will score.
Kenny again. I just don't. He's completely gotten away from just challenging people with the fastball that he was so successful early in the game. Now he gets in trouble. He goes to the breaking ball. He hangs one. Now he overthrows one.
This one didn't get that far away from Russell Martin, but Borges is one of the fastest guys in this league, and he doesn't even have to slide. He's going to beat A.J. Burnett to home plate.
You see him leaning there. It's great base running. You anticipate that ball being in the dirt, and with 2 outs, you'll take any chance. You see that ball in the dirt, you're going. Very hard for a catcher to block that ball, pick it up, and make a play with the speed.
AJ's American League leading 15th wild pitch. The 2-2 to Ibar. Line to right field. Swisher's there, and that's going to do it. But the Angels score 4 runs on 2 hits and 3 walks. 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the 6th. 4-1 LA.
Monday Night Football's back, and the Jets play their first preseason game, and My Nine has your ticket. The action starts at 7:30 with the Jets kickoff presented by Toyota. And get your first look at Sanchez, Burris, and Holmes as Gangrene takes on the Texans. Jets Texans Monday night at 7:30. That's right here on My Nine.
Aaron's got to feel like he hit the lottery. All of a sudden he's in a pitching duel, 0-1-1. All of a sudden you look up, they throw a 4 spot up for you. Big inning for him to try to shut down the Yankees, keep it there.
The 2-0. There's a strike. Well, he shuts down the opponent in the next inning after his team scores runs. 1.16 ERA.
Paul, you can see where he can throw hitters off with that little hesitation he has before he delivers. It looks like he's looking into the third base dugout, and it's okay, now I'll throw the ball. As a hitter, you're trying to get your timing. It might throw you off a bit, and this is just from the windup, though. Right there.
Ooh, tough pitch. In the back of your mind, you always know he has that split finger. And you see there's a little hesitation as a hitter. You kind of jump, and when you jump, it does kind of set your rhythm off.
Three out of the top 4 are in the ballpark. Yankees will miss Weaver. They're seeing Herron. Sabathia will not pitch in this series. He'll pitch Friday. Hammered. Foul.
Tell you what, that's a good piece of hitting because you got a slider before, you know, at about 86, and then all of a sudden he tries to run a fastball in the same location. Granderson quick enough, just hooks it a little bit too much.
I think one reason the Yankees are missing Weaver because he's been suspended for his actions in the game in Detroit. I think he's scheduled to pitch on Saturday.
Fly ball, left center. Borges makes the play. The first out.
Another little cutter or slider in on the hands of Curtis Granderson.
Here's Mark Teixeira. Fly to center and fly to right. Another one just foul. Giving Trumbo a workout. This is the remainder of this series. Garrett Richards, 12-2 in Double-A against Ivan Nova, and then Tyler Chatwood against Bartolo Colon. Now the Yankees actually mapped out the rest of their rotation this week. You see Nova and Colon, and then it's Sabathia on Friday. Phil Hughes back in the rotation on Saturday, and Freddie Garcia is on Sunday. So again, the Yankees go to a 6-man rotation.
I'll tell you what, if you watch what Herron's doing, especially against lefties, you've got like a little cutter coming in from one direction, and then he backed up a sinker. Same location, different spin on the ball. Tough to pick up as a hitter.
And you can see when he throws the cutter, they hit it well, you pull it foul.
Exactly.
It's sort of like if you have a chance to get to Mariano's cutter on the inner half, the way to hit it hard, there it is, you pull it foul. It's a loud strike.
You know, as a left-handed hitter looking at a righty, you know, you expect them to really dominate the outside part of the plate.
That one's drilled deep to right field. Fair ball, it's gone. It is a foul ball.
He got away with one there. Teixeira got a ball that he usually doesn't miss. Herron has been so good at dominating the inside part of the plate where he left that one out. Mathis goes out there and says,
don't throw it there.
You got away with that one. Keep it in there next time. And you either bounce a split finger here or you go back to that cutter in off the plate. It's hard as a hitter when you just miss one, pull it foul to get back in that box and get that home run that you just hit foul out of your mind.
It's like you're taking one off your season total.
Yeah.
Driven to right field, but Hunter is there for the second out.
Again, I think Herron got away with another one. That ball was supposed to be down and away, and ended up middle of the plate. I think Teixeira could believe he got the same pitch.
Looked like he hit it off the end of the bat. It might have broken it.
Ball up in the zone, that usually ends up in the seats too. This goes to show you, Michael, not every mistake ends up in the seats.
Here's Cano. Check swing. They check with the third base ump who wasn't even looking.
That's a good way to describe it.
He actually was looking at the dirt. I wasn't looking.
He's honest.
That's Mike Everett over third.
Hot shot. Oh, nice play by Trumbo. Took a base hit away from Robinson Cano, and the Yankees go down in order 1, 2, 3. In fact, they've gone down 7 in a row since the 4th inning. Nice backhanded stab on the short hop as we will go to the 7th. Powered by Dunkin' Donuts. To get dunked, go to getdunked.com. That's GETDUNKD.com. Verizon, America's largest and most reliable wireless network. And by Nissan. It's Nissan's bottom line sales event, and we're laying it all on the line. Visit ChooseNissan.com or your local dealer today. Well, that's going to do it for A.J. Burnett. He goes 6 innings and gives up the 4 runs, and Joe Girardi makes the call to the bullpen, brought to you by HP Everybody On. And on the mound for the Yankees now is Corey Wade. Outstanding numbers for Wade. And he'll face Howie Kendrick. There's a strike. So an incredible stat as you see the Sports Authority scoreboard that A.J. Burnett, who really is a pitcher with very good stuff and won some big games for the Yankees in the playoffs in 2009, will continue a streak that really is hard to fathom. He has never won a game in August for the Yankees.
It's strange. You know what the thing about A.J. Burnett that is weird to me is you're always waiting for him to get better, almost like a young pitcher. You know, when you get a young pitcher up here and you think he's going to mature into this. A.J. Burnett's 34 years old. He is what he is. He's a guy with great stuff, and on given nights can just absolutely dominate lineups. I love the way he pitched tonight, the first 3 or 4 innings, by just pumping fastballs in there, but all of a sudden he got back to that slider and he ended up hanging one.
Corey Wade catches Kendrick looking.
You know what I'm talking about, Michael? It's always like, well, is he going to turn into this dominant thing? Well, you know, he is what he is. He's 34 years old. He's not new to the league.
And you look at his stuff, he hasn't lost anything stuff-wise. He was throwing 95 miles an hour today. And that's probably more maddening than anything. I think that you'd understand it more if there had been a drop in his stuff. He's got nasty stuff. And you could tell also, nobody wants to fail. AJ happens to be a really sensitive guy, and he doesn't like getting booed when he comes off the mound. He doesn't want to be booed. He said in the paper, I want to have fun out there. But, you know, it's a production business. Line drive foul.
Seems to be having one of those years. I mean, obviously he was much better tonight than he was in Chicago. He's had 3 or 4 games this year where he was lined up for a win that the bullpen didn't hold it. It's just one of those years that if something can go wrong, will. And it's going to be tough for him mentally to realize, you know, that he still has big games ahead of him. He still has playoff starts ahead of him, and you've got to stay to the point where, you know, you believe in your stuff and you believe that in those big game situations that you're going to be able to pitch well. And if you can do that, you know, you're still going to have the you know, that success at the end of the year where you pitch your good games.
Well, the 4-run 6th inning started with the home run by Bobby Abreu, and it's probably a frustrating home run to give up because it just cleared the wall. It was a Yankee Stadium home run. Just got into the first row, and then 3 walks by the Angels and the hanging breaking ball, which Mathis hit for a double.
Yeah, but after the home run,
you got a foul ball.
He got 2 hitters out,
yes,
and a walk in between.
Yes.
So there was 2 men out and 1 man on. Runner tagged up, went to second on a long fly ball. Then the walk intentionally to his Torres. And the key play, I think, was walking Burgos to load the bases.
A strikeout of Abreu.
That was the guy you wanted to get out. And you walked his Torres intentionally so to set up the final out of the inning, and he couldn't get it.
The breaking ball here, and that you see the break on that's not a rolling curveball. That's got sharp break at the end.
You know, we talk about how the Yankees or the Angels play that kind of push it up sort of ball. If they were a basketball team, they'd press 94 feet. That's how they are. Well, a key play in that inning is Trumbo tagging up from first base on the fly ball center. If he doesn't tag up there, they're not intentionally walking Estorres. They go right after him. So by tagging up, that forces Estorres to be walked, and then you lose Borges, and then you hang the breaking ball to Mathis. And that's the anatomy of an inning.
Yeah, it seems like that, you know, that's kind of their style now. Torrey Hunter did it earlier in the game to a ball to the wall in right field. So they're aggressive. You know, defensively, they've made plays tonight that you know, the Yankees could have scored runs, and it goes back to just the small little things, and goes back in my mind to Mike Scioscia, the way that he expects people to play baseball. And it's almost for the old days of back when he played with the Dodgers. They were good defensively with great pitching, and if you happen to add in a couple big hits like they did tonight, you look at the scoreboard, you got a 4-1 lead.
Torrey Hunter 3 for 4.
Jeez.
Again, I mean, he's staying in the middle of the field. He's hitting the ball. He's confident now, where he's struggled a little bit throughout the year, but lately he's on a hot streak. And I tell you what, as a player, when you're on a hot streak, I always felt, Kenny, that a lot of people think when you're hot, you can just relax and walk up. I felt like you had to try even harder to keep that hot streak going as long as you can.
15 for 27. And another thing about the Angels, they teach this base running throughout the minor leagues. Mike Scioscia has his footprint, or you know, his prints all over this. You know, when players get to the Angels, they know how they're expected to run the bases, be aggressive, steal bases.
Here's the Angels box score, brought to you by Prudential. Prudential, bring your challenge. Home run by Abreu, 3 for 4 for Hunter, 2 for 2 for his Tourist. Borges 1 for 2 runs scored on a wild pitch, and Jeff Mathis that big 2-run double. The 0-1 to Trumbo. Strike.
How'd you like to have this guy's future?
Yeah, I mean, the ball that he hit to right field didn't even look like he hit it.
Yeah.
It ended up on the top of the wall. And again, to see a young player come in the game and to see what they can become and kind of guess.
Guess wrong there.
Yeah.
What an inning for Corey Wade. He gives up 1 hit, leaves 1, and strikes out the side. He continues his outstanding season. At the end of 6.5 time for the 7th inning stretch, Angels lead the Yankees 4-1, but we're going to stay right here to honor America in the Bronx.
Silent prayer as we remember the servicemen and women serving our country at home and around the globe. Thank you. Now join in Kate Smith's rendition of God Bless America.
You by Prudential. Prudential, bring your challenge. Curtis Granderson with a home run with 2 outs in the first inning, and that's pretty much the Yankee offense. Robinson Cano has a single, Eric Chavez a double, and that's it. 3 hits against Dan Herron over the first 6 innings. Bottom of the 7th starts off with Nick Swisher against Herron. Herron's thrown 97 pitches. Here's number 98, and it's a strike. Sports Authority scoreboard: 4-8-0, leading 1-3-0. Yankees have been playing great baseball here at the stadium. They're 24-10 in their last 34 games. But the Angels have also been playing great baseball overall. They're 21-11 in their last 32 games. So this starts a 6-game road trip for them. They'll go to Toronto next. Rays beat the Royals today 4-0 behind James Shield, and it took 1 hour and 53 minutes. That's a Jim Cott game.
So you can't get rained out in 5 innings down there either, can you?
No, not in that dome. But the last time you did a game there, Kenny, I wasn't with you, but you actually had a rain delay, right? The thunder knocked out the lights.
Right. Yeah, electrical difficulty.
Yeah, there was the substation was hit by lightning, and some of the lights went out in the stadium. We also had, what else did they have? Against the Red Sox, they had a light knocked out by a foul ball.
Right in on the hands. Trumbo Fields will step on the bag, and there's one away.
Herron stayed away with breaking balls and sinkers, and all of a sudden you throw that cutter in, and as a left-handed hitter, you're diving out there to try to protect that outside corner.
Here's what Paul's talking about. And, you see Swisher pull that hand in, trying to get the barrel of the bat to the ball, but couldn't do so. Didn't hit the ball well enough. Easy play.
You're jammed that bad, you just hope that you can pull off enough to hit it foul and get another swing at it.
Herron's a good pitcher. You know, he's got strikeout type stuff. As you said, Paul, maybe doesn't throw as hard as he used to, but everything seems to have a little movement on it.
Yeah, he has a great idea, because a lot of pitchers you can sit up here and by this time in the game almost guess with them. And you know, he mixes up, backs up a lot of pitches in, away, and you know, as a hitter, you really can't sit and get a feel of, you know, how he's pitching you in a particular at bat.
Hey, Kenny, how much credit of that goes to Mathis?
The catcher?
Yeah.
Well, that's what he's in there for.
Yeah,
he's an excellent catcher. But you know, you have a veteran leading a veteran.
1-2. Just missed inside.
I haven't seen Herron shake off very often.
See, now that pitch right there, in off the plate as a left-handed hitter, I'm thinking, all right, he's showing me that. Now he's going to go back outside. But with Herron, he'll back it up, and you see he's going to do it again. Just missed, and it's very hard to hit with guys like this, because you just can't get into a rhythm of what they're trying to do to you.
You know, one thing as I look at this race in the Western Division, you know, we talked about the Angels trying to chase down the Rangers.
And Herron strikes out his former Oakland A's teammate, Eric Chavez looking.
And they trail the Rangers by a game and a half. But these two, the Angels and the Rangers, have 10 more games against each other. And 7 of those games are in Anaheim. There's that little spillover fastball. Hits the corner for call, strike 3. Talking about movement just a moment ago, and now you see it.
That ball ended up inside part of the plate, but it did. It had enough movement to fool Chavez.
Now, the difference between the two teams that I see at this point, the Angels win at home, and they also have a winning record on the road. The Texas Rangers have a losing record on the road this year. They're very good in their own ballpark.
Russell Martin hammers one to left field. It's a base hit. It'll go into the corner, and Martin picks up the Yankees' 4th hit, a 2-out double here in the 7th.
So unless the Rangers rectify that situation, they're going into Anaheim and having to play 7 games against the Angels on the road.
See, Herron gets that ball in, but Russell Martin quick enough to drive it down the line. Got in on him a little bit. Good piece of hitting. Again, every time you get a hit as a Yankee, you look up and there's 2 outs, and Aaron has an opportunity to get out of it without getting up a run.
He breaks a string of 9 in a row retired by Aaron.
I'll tell you what he's done since he's gotten the lead is thrown strikes. And there's a lot to be said about pitching to the Yankee lineup, and the big thing to me is to not try to nitpick. You need to throw strikes. You need to get ahead of guys, or they'll dig a hole that you can't get out of.
Here's Nunez. Foul that.
Times I've seen Nunez hit, seems like he really handles the high ball well. From a right-handed hitter, likes the ball up in the zone.
Borges in center is playing him to hit the ball the other way, and sometimes when you come up to the plate as a hitter and you check the defense, you can see Borges out here, right center field. That kind of tells you, it might give away how they're going to pitch you. It might tell you that they're going to try to keep the ball away from it. Always used to key on the center fielder and the infielders, the middle infielders.
Yeah, I didn't see the outfield much, but you could always tell on infielders, and you could especially see the second baseman and the shortstop as a left-handed hitter kind of moving one way or the other. A lot of times it would tell you the way they were going to pitch or even the pitch that they were going to throw.
It's like the bullpen's going to get busy here in a second. Pitch count getting up there.
Takahashi has been warming, and Fernando Rodney as well. They have an 8-man bullpen, 3 left-handers, so good balance for Scioscia.
8-man bullpen.
2-2. Looped into short right field. That is going to be a base hit. Russell Morton's coming home. Here's the throw. It's up the third baseline. RBI single for Nunez. And the Yankees now trail 4-2.
Well, with 2 outs, Martin was off with the crack of the bat. That is Mike Busher and Rob Pichilot. They are running things now with Mike Scioscia back in the clubhouse. A little jam shot. And the ball's going to fall in front of Torrey Hunter. And as I said, Martin's off with the crack of the bat, so he's going to score fairly easily, although Hunter's still showing a pretty strong arm.
Yeah, he got caught in between here where he couldn't make the play and he couldn't keep his weight back to make a good, strong throw at home. Still a great outfielder, but you know you can't dive and you figure out you can't get there, and all of a sudden it's too late for you to stay back and make a strong throw home.
So the Yankees looking to rally late. Butcher on the mound. Talking with Herron, who has 116 pitches now. The guys in the bullpen are ready. Looks like he's going to stay with Herron against Gardner.
Herron's been in the 120s before this year. I mean, he's had good stuff. I mean, he just got beat on a jam shot right there, so it's not like he's really lost anything.
Herron's season high 125. Gardner 0 for 3, struck out in the first, grounded to third in the third, and struck out in the fifth.
Kenny, you never went through this. You were a switch hitter, but as a left-handed hitter, when you see the pitching coach go out there, it would have been Mike Scioscia if he was still in the game, but you start already processing who you're going to face. You see a lefty up in the bullpen, and all of a sudden you're back in the box, and you're not really prepared. You didn't expect to face this guy here.
Especially nowadays, because they force you to, give the signal when you're leaving it. They want you to give the signal as you're leaving the dugout to get the pitcher in as quickly as possible.
117 tonight. He averages 111. We told you the high 125. Two.
It's amazing. I mean, he has close to 120 pitches. He only has 2 walks. He gets a lot of foul balls, throws a lot of strikes, but it's a weird way to get your pitch count up. But that's the way he pitches.
77 strikes, 41 balls. The 0-2. Punch the other way foul.
That was Brett Gardner's version of the emergency swing.
Remember last time up, he swung it a couple pitches high up out of the zone. He tried to go low and away there.
Just trying to spoil that.
I think at some point during this at bat, he's going to see that cutter in on his hands. Everything's been away.
Looped into left field. That is going to be a base hit. Moving to third is Nunez. It's a single for Gardner. Yankees have the tying runners on. And that might do it for Herron.
I'll tell you what, it was a sight to see Nunez going first to third.
Yeah, really put some pressure on the defense. And, you know, if you try to throw him out at third base, Gardner probably follows him to second. Smart play. Vernon Wells.
There's Rob Pichilot signaling to the bullpen. Looks like they want the right-hander.
It'll be Rodney against Jeter.
Once in a while, I think you go to the well too often. He stayed away that whole at bat to Gardner. See this ball down and away, decent pitch, but he had gone there 3 pitches before.
So the Yankees are set up. They have good speed on the bases, and the captain coming up against Fernando Rodney. Stick around. American League manager do you respect most in a game against the Yankees? Here are your choices. Is it A, Terry Francona, B, Ron Gardenhire, C, Jim Leland, D, Joe Madden, E, Mike Scioscia? You could text A, B, C, D, or E to 70377 or go to my9tv.com. Find out the results right after the game. It's Take on Russ, brought to you by Toyota. Mike Scioscia could actually vote on this because he's been thrown out of the game. And he is watching right now in the visitors' clubhouse here in the stadium.
Better turn the volume down. He doesn't know where else.
Here's Fernando Rodney. This will be his 30th game. 3.60 ERA, 21 strikeouts in 25 innings. Obviously, too many walks for his liking.
He has spent some time on the disabled list this year, strained upper back. Former Detroit Tiger.
And the pitch to Jeter is low. Four for 7 against Rodney.
Rodney almost with a slide step there, trying to hold Gardner close.
Runner goes, no throw. That's the 22nd straight stolen base without being caught for Gardner, and his 36th overall.
I'll tell you what, 2 outs, man on third. You've got to know you're going to make it, and Brett Gardner does. You know, even though Rodney looked like he was pretty quick to the plate, he challenge Mathis, put himself in tying run in scoring position. Much easier for Derek Jeter to drive in two with a single than it is to hit a double.
Bottom of the 7th, the Yankees trail 4-2. Dan Herron now a spectator. The 2-0. Base hit to center field. That's going to tie the game. Nunez scores. Gardner scores. It's a big 2-run single for the captain. And the Yankees have tied the game at 4.
Well, Paul, you were talking about the little things. Runners moving themselves up. Example, the Yankees lead the league in stolen bases. It's not all about the power. Gardner steals second, puts himself in scoring position, and on the very next pitch, Derek Jeter delivers.
Well, they go to the bullpen again. They'll bring in the left-hander Takahashi to face Granderson. The captain goes up the middle for a game-tying single. Takes it up the middle to tie the game.
Yeah, after 2 pitches in the dirt, he absolutely threw what Derek Jeter wants, is that fastball away where he can drive it over the second baseman's head. And Rodney has a great changeup. Never got to it in that count.
Check this out, what the DL stint did for Derek Jeter. Derek had 20 RBIs through his first 62 games before he went on the DL. He has 20 ribbies in the 29 games since. He's driven the ball more. He just looks like a different player since those 3 weeks on the DL.
Again, 2-0 pitch. And they are trying to go away, but the ball runs back in a little bit. Derek Jeter, dead fastball, 2-0. Got to realize as a pitcher, you know, you still have a base open there. You've got to get that ball in on his hands. And I would say that, you know, you've got to pitch to Derek Jeter because Granderson's on deck, but obviously, you know, you're going to bring the lefty in to face him anyway. Those big hits, Kenny, when you look at them on the replay, which we get to do, are missed pitches, and that ball ended up, you know, over the middle of the plate where it was not supposed to be.
All of this started with 2 outs and nobody on.
Yeah, very disappointing for Dan Herron. He threw a great game. All of a sudden he made a couple pitches. He went, in my mind, went away from Gardner on 3 consecutive pitches. Good piece of hitting by Gardner, drove it to left center, and then good piece of base running by stealing, putting himself in scoring position.
You know, all of a sudden, with the 2 outs, the Yankees had Martin's double, and then they kept the line moving until they tied the game.
The 0-1. 1-1.
A lot of check swings today.
A lot. So A.J. Burnett is off the hook, and Dan Herron is off the hook for his win. So the starters will not figure in to the win or the loss here. It's going to be up to the bullpen. And if you're the Yankees, you like your chances when a game comes down to the bullpen.
You also got to figure that the Yankees, you know, feel like they could steal this game. They've got a good chance at this series. I mean, we talked about it. They missed Weaver. They missed Santana. The Double-A pitcher throwing one of the games. So
pitch outside.
Watch Curtis Granderson against lefties and why he's had so much success this year. If you just look at that front shoulder, it doesn't move. He's quick enough to realize, he's quick enough inside, even if he keeps that shoulder in, and that allows him to hit that breaking ball away. Or right when I talk about it, he can wave at it and miss it.
Lefties don't shut down the power game for Granderson. He has 29 homers, 11 against lefties. That's the most of any player. He's left-handed. So that's going to release Jeter at first. 3-2 and 2 outs. Mark Teixeira on deck. Runner goes. 3-2. Swung and a miss. So Takahashi comes on to get Granderson. But the Yankees tied the score. 3 runs on 4 hits. And there it is. A couple of big base hits from the bottom of the order, and then the top of the order does its job. And when it's all said and done, we played 7, and the game is tied at 4. Four as we go to the 8th. A lot of other baseball going on. We'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by HP. Everybody on. The White Sox, who look so bad against the Yankees, then go in and sweep the Twins, now leading the Orioles tonight. We talked about the Yankee bullpen, and they will go to that bullpen again. Corey Wade pitched a great 7th inning, and now they will turn to their 8th inning shutdown guy, and that's David Robertson. Now, if you want to take something really positive out of the Boston series, despite the Yankees losing 2 out of 3, their bullpen did a good job. I thought Soriano looked really strong, and he threw 96 miles an hour in the appearance on Sunday. Soriano, Robertson, and Mariano. That's a pretty good finish there for any bullpen. Now, Mariano didn't get it done in the 9th inning on Sunday, and then Phil Hughes, a last-minute addition to the bullpen, lost the game in the 10th. But for the most part, that whole road trip, the Yankee bullpen was lights out. So now Robertson will face Vernon Wells, Meiser Asturias, and Peter Borges in the 8th, with the game tied at 8. Wells is 0 for 3. The acquisition of Wells by the Angels really opened up a lot of eyes around baseball. No one understood it. I mean, he has struggled since he signed a 7-year, $126 million contract with the Blue Jays. And the Angels not only made a trade, but they picked up the entire remaining 3 years in salary. High fly ball, right center. Granderson is there for the first out. And Wells' average just continues to dip.
Every once in a while as an organization, you know, you scout and you think maybe a different scenery, something will change, get him back to where he was. He had some minor injuries, get him off the AstroTurf up there. So far, it has not done that to Vernon Wells.
He's a 210 hitter, and it's August 9th. It's hard to believe because he used to be a great player.
They already mentioned he hit 28 home runs against the Yankees while in Toronto. Neither of those players are still with the Blue Jays. Juan Rivera was, I think he's with the Dodgers now, if I'm not mistaken. And Mike Napoli immediately went to the Texas Rangers.
And you know, you don't want to be harsh, but if the Blue Jays got nothing back other than the salary relief, it was worth it.
I think that's what they were looking for.
Because they used that money, Kenny, and they signed Bautista to a long-term deal.
Yeah.
And you look at who's the better player now for that same money, it's obviously Bautista rather than Wells.
No, I mean, you look at the outfield they had in Toronto with Vernon Wells and Rios, who I thought was a tremendous player, who's having an awful year in Chicago also.
And that was a curious move because Kenny Williams, the GM of the White Sox, put in a claim on the waiver wire, and the Blue Jays said, you got him, and you got his salary too. The 2-1.
I just had a look at it. By the way, Bautista's back in right field.
Right.
Because the Blue Jays called up that youngster, Brett Lowry. And where do you see him? I saw him a couple of games this week. Solid third baseman, can run like the wind, and hit his first major league home run the other day. So he's going to be, and he's a Canadian, so you know they like him in Toronto. Speaking of Blue Jays, former Blue Jay Scott Downs.
Nice play there by Robertson, quickly off the mound. Tonight after the game, he's had his ups and downs with the Bombers, but A.J. Burnett reveals the big piece of advice he got from fellow pitcher CC Sabathia to stay focused on the mound. On the Verizon Fios game wrap-up tonight on the 10 o'clock news.
CC, he does it all, gives advice, wins games.
Taking over for Dr. Phil.
Peter Borges takes a strike. And another strike.
See Robertson, good fastball, but it's straight, and it's got a great curveball. And as a hitter, you in the back of your mind, you know that that thing's going to come sooner or later.
And the 0-2. Count 1-2.
You know, Michael, the way it was raining this afternoon, it for a while looked like the game was in doubt. When I look around the stadium, as soon as that rain stopped, everybody just shot out to the Yankee Stadium.
And there's no, I mean, the track around the field doesn't even look wet. Amazing the way this field drains.
Yeah.
1-2. Swing and a miss. Got him. In the dirt. The throw to first. They get the Speedy Borges, and that will do it. So David Robertson works another 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's a 4-4 game. Scott Downs comes in. He's another left-hander, and look at the numbers on Downs. 37 and third innings, 23 hits, 8 walks, so under 1 whip, 22 strikeouts, and a sparkling 1.45 ERA.
Yeah, he's held both left-handers and right-handers under a 200 batting average this year.
Crowd of 46,466 here at the stadium. And it's a 4-4 game. It'll be Teixeira, Cano, and Swisher. So you have switch hitter, lefty, switch hitter. So they elect to turn Teixeira and Swisher around to the right side against the lefty Downs. And it's not exactly like you shut down Cano by bringing in a lefty. Teixeira, 3 fly balls to the outfield, 2 to right, 1 to center. Now the Angels have always been a nemesis to the Yankees. Since 2000, the Angels' record against the Yankees is 55 and 47. And that's the only team in baseball that the Yankees have a losing record against since 2000. But of late, the Angels have had a hard time beating the Yankees in the Bronx. Angels are 3-11 in their last 14 games in the Bronx.
I was going to say, I remember going out there on West Coast trips and just getting waxed out there in Anaheim. They played well at home. You gotta make hay when you're at home.
Always seen when they were behind in tight games at home and out in Anaheim, that rally monkey would Derek Jeter say every time they have that rally monkey on the board, they score runs.
Yeah, that thing was right over my shoulder in right field. Nothing worse. They play what was that? The jump around. And the rally monkey be dancing. I knew it was bad news when the rally monkey came out.
It's not a bad thing to have power hitters lead off an inning in a tie ball game or a tight ball game. Pitchers do not want to walk them. Get something started. Usually get something decent to hit.
Count 3-1.
Derek Jeter just cold ball 4 right there.
fly ball, right field. Hunter back on the track at the wall. He makes the play. I think sometimes Hunter plays with people.
I'll tell you what, the same thing. I thought he was looking up into the stands. I can understand that at home, but in a visiting ballpark, I mean, as comfortable as he looks getting to the wall, knowing where he is, mark of a good outfielder.
I tell you what, he's appropriately named for a good outfielder, Hunter.
Yeah.
He just goes and gets him.
Here's Cano. Dribbled foul. Career against Downs. Cano just 5 for 24. That's 208.
Talk about Corey Hunter. You see these little things here, that means something. Those gold little labels on the glove, that means you're a Gold Glove winner. This little trapeze, I like that. I didn't have any gold on it though. I would say, hey, we talked about Willie Mays. Originally, that was his glove, the trapeze model.
Just to make the basket catch.
And a little gold on his glove too, didn't he? A great arm too. I remember.
Yes.
Great everything.
Yeah, he did everything.
Pretty good list. Willie and Roberto Clemente tied with 12 Gold Gloves. Well, the forgotten part of the Willie Mays catch on Vic Wertz in the World Series was he spun and made a great throw back into the infield. He was 480 feet away at the Polo Grounds. The 0-2. 1-2.
Michael, you're talking about how far you throw the ball. But the first year I retired, I'm up here in the booth, and you were going to bet me that I could throw a ball from home plate over the wall in right field. It's 314.
Right.
I got no chance now.
No.
Bet's off. Bet is off. I might not get to the first base at this point.
The 1-2. When's the last time you threw a ball in anger? 2001?
In anger? 2000. Yeah. That used to seem like such an easy throw.
I think you could do it. You don't have to do it on a line. Just fire it straight up in the air.
Talk to him, Kenny.
Yeah, you're going to hurt something if you do it. Don't do it.
Something will hurt. Yeah.
Dribbled slowly up the middle. Kendrick will get Cano for the second out.
There's two big outs. One loud out went to the wall, but a good pitch there right in on Robbie's hands from a left-handed pitcher to a left-handed hitter. Toughest pitch to hit in my mind is that two-seam fastball. Running in off the plate. You learn to cover that slider and that breaking ball from lefties, but very hard to
reverse.
Quick enough.
Yeah.
Quick enough to get to that ball inside.
Swisher tonight grounded to second, fly to right, and grounded to first. Batting from the right side for the first time tonight. That looks like a very clean bat. Doesn't look like it has any pine tar on it at all.
I mean, like right out of the box?
Oh, he's got the good tape. Oh, I used to tape all my bats that way. I think I told you this, Michael. The first person I saw do that, taught me how to do that, was Davey Concepcion in Cincinnati. As it picks up pine tar, you get such a good grip with that athletic tape around there.
He's meticulous about the way he tapes that too.
Oh, you have to be. You can only go down, so if you got it up too far, it didn't look right. If you got it down too far, but if you got it just perfect, it made the bat, the barrel, everything just look perfect.
The 2-1. 2-2. Yankees led 1-0 after 1 inning when Curtis Granderson hit a 2-out home run in the first inning, his 29th of the year. A.J. Burnett pitched so well over the first 5, but then Bobby Abreu's home run in the 6th inning tied it. 3 walks and a double later was 4-3. Angels leading. But the Yankees came back with 3 runs in the 7th inning. The big hit, a 2-run single with 2 outs by Derek Jeter, tied the game. That's where we are right now, bottom of the 8th, 4-4. The 2-2. Count 3-2.
He's thrown him a lot of breaking balls in this at bat. It wouldn't surprise me if he threw him another one. You know, Swishy's got a left-handed hitter on deck.
His career numbers too. Downs believes he knows him.
Swisher's hit him pretty well. I think what, 5 for 12. So Mathis should be aware of that too.
Ooh. Fastball away. He didn't want that one.
3-2.
Yep.
He walked him.
See, but if you're hitting, you got to realize I've hit this guy pretty well. 2 outs, nobody on. He's not going to lay one in there. So you look for a breaking ball, maybe you crush it.
Look, breaking ball with 2 strikes. Huh?
No, well, you know, you got fastball in your mind, but that break ball's floating back there somewhere.
Oh,
you've seen enough of them in this at bat that you will recognize it when it's coming up here.
I agree. I think when you see certain pitches 2 or 3 times in an at bat, you just react to them. You don't really have to worry about them anymore.
Well, the Yankees go to the bench with the lefty Chavez due up. They're going to send up the righty Andrew Jones to face Scott Downs.
Cat and mouse game going here, Michael.
Now Butcher, the pitching coach, comes out, so that means there's probably not going to be a pitching change. Rich Thompson, the righty, is getting ready. I guess they're just going over how you face Andrew Jones. You can get Andrew out with breaking balls, but if you try to sneak a fastball by him. Andrew against Downs, career 4 for 10.
See, Rich Thompson, I believe it's going to take him a while to get heated up here. He wasn't ready to come in for a counter move.
And Jones 1 for 4 that won a home run against Thompson.
Yeah, but if he truly wants Thompson to face him, I mean, he'll throw to first. He'll do something. I think they're
Oh, he's got a pitch to him.
He's got a pitch that trip. Yeah.
And the thing about it, Joe Girardi didn't show his hand. He didn't put Andrew Jones in the on-deck circle. He had Eric Chavez stand out there. And if he did, you know, maybe Rich Thompson had been up a little earlier and had been ready to come in the game. So that's a little cat and mouse going here late in the ball game, in a tie ball game.
And now we have no idea. Some managers, like when Joe Torre got thrown out of a game, he let his coaches manage the game. He wasn't sending information back and forth. I don't know what Socia does. Does Socia send information with bat boys back and forth? Or are the coaches really managing this game right now?
I know when Earl Weaver got thrown out, he got thrown out a lot. He still managed the game.
Much easier this day and age. You're back in, you know, you've got the long tunnel, you've got televisions in the locker room.
You could text somebody if you had to.
Really?
No, they're not allowed to have phones on the bench. No phones in the dugout.
But if right off that runway in the visiting clubhouse is a video room, so you could be sitting, you could be 2 feet away from the dugout and shout out instructions. Count 1-2. Piccolo is the acting manager with Socha thrown out. Swisher gets back.
You know, Kenny, you were talking about Nick Swisher's at bats where you've seen that curveball 2 or 3 times and you know, you don't have to worry about it anymore. I don't care how many you throw to Andrew Jones, he's still looking dead fastball.
Count now 2-2. While he was in there, Chavez was 1 for 2, a double and a walk. Struck out looking. So his night over as Jones has worked the count 2-2 against Downs. Jones 7 home runs this year, 22 ribbies. Line drive, a pinch hit single for Andrew Jones. Wells is playing almost on the warning track for Jones. And the Yankees have the go-ahead run at second base.
Kenny, this is going to be a shocker, but he tried to sneak a fastball by him. After a couple breaking balls. Andrew Jones, I'm telling you what, he loves the fastball. He always has.
And he doesn't get cheated.
Again, it doesn't matter how many. You see a fastball out over the plate. Andrew Jones right on it, drives it to left field.
So now you got Thompson ready in the bullpen. There's no move that Girardi would make here with Martin. Martin's his catcher. You don't want to use your second catcher unless in an emergency.
Well, I did mention that Downs has done pretty well against both lefties and righties. He's held both of them under 200 batting average.
Martin's 1 for 3, doubled his last time up. That started the Yankees' 3-run rally in the 7th against Herring. 4-4 game, bottom of the 8th. Fouled away.
Some of these things I'm looking at, Kenny, at the bullpen, you know, possibly holding off on taking the guys. I mean, they don't have a day off coming up here. They got 13, 14 games in a row. Sometimes you've got it managed a little bit differently this time of the year.
Grounded to short. Ibar there, and he goes to second to get the force, and that will do it. So Downs works into and out of trouble. Yankees get a hit, but they strand 2. If they win it, there's going to be tie involved at 4-4.
A.J. Burnett reveals the big piece of advice he got from fellow pitcher C.C. Sabathia to stay focused on the mound. That's on the Verizon Fios game wrap-up tonight on the 10 o'clock news.
Well, we go to the 9th inning. And tie games at home, you're going to bring in your closer in the 9th inning because there's never going to be a safe situation. So the Yankees have Mariano Rivera on the mound. Last time we saw Mariano, he blew the save against the Red Sox on Sunday. But the nature of this job is you got to get back out there and forget about it, and he's pretty good at it. Obviously, it bothers him when it happens, but he's able to etch-a-sketch it out of his mind.
Short memory. That's pretty good in all positions in this game, especially being a closer.
Yeah, everyday player. Until you have that 0 for 4, you got to come back the next day and try and do business again.
Alberto Callaspo is going to pinch hit for Jeff Mathis, who had the biggest hit of the game for the Angels. A bases loaded ground rule double. Bounced over the wall in center.
When you think about that double, the Yankees got a break because if it didn't bounce over, Bourjos was going to score for first base. They would have had another run. And then he came in to score on the wild pitch.
The 2-0. Foul back. The 2-1. Now 2-2. You want to look ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, and why not? You're allowed. Yankees will have 9, 1, and 2 in the order coming up. Nunez, Gardner, and Jeter. 2-2. There's a pinch hit, base hit for Callaspo. And now Ibar will probably bunt.
Took 2 pitches in off the plate, then he got 2 cutters that he could handle. This ball's up a little bit, got jammed. Who doesn't get jammed is a left-handed hitter by Mariano.
Got just enough of it to get it over Cano's head for a leadoff single.
Let's see what Ibar does. Callaspo has some speed. And Ibar takes a pitch low, although he was squaring to bunt.
Ibar has 9 sacrifice bunts. We told you he had been tied with Mathis, but Mathis has one tonight.
Well, Mariano, if you think about it, not a bad guy to hit and run against. I mean, contact's really not the problem. It's trying to barrel the ball up. I mean, you get jammed a lot, but it's the same as a bunt.
1-0. Bunted right back to Mo. He's going to go to second. He gets the force.
Wow, this is going to open a can of worms here, isn't it, Kenny, after that bunt in Boston?
Well, this is what I was talking about. He is so quick off the mound. You know, if Nunez had held his position at third in Boston, he would have got to play at third. But there it is. There's the accurate throw to second. Jeter playing second like a first baseman, stretching out to take the throw. He gets the lead runner. And that was quick.
So that's a fielder's choice. And here's Howie Kendrick. Ibar a threat to run.
Ibar's got a career high 23 stolen bases over at first. He's only been caught 4 times.
That's 85%.
Usually 70 is pretty good. 70% is pretty good.
I'll tell you one thing, when you just tried to sacrifice and didn't get the job done, you've got a little bottled up aggression too. You want to run.
Cutter whispers across the outside corner, 1-1. Mariano's ERA at home this year is 0.37, on the road 3.79. Runner goes. Pitch swung on a miss. The throw to second. In the dirt. Scooped up by Jeter, and Ibar with a stolen base. So it turns out the way they wanted anyway with the sacrifice.
Some redemption for Ibar for not getting the sacrifice bunt down, but as we told you, aggressive on the bases. That's his 24th, and each time he steals one, it's a new career high. Swing and a miss.
Russell Martin had a tough pitch to handle, Cutter, but I think you almost have to run. I mean, your chances of stringing together, a bunch of hits against Mariano, not very good. Try to steal a base so you can score on a jam shot.
Kendrick 0 for 4 tonight with 3 strikeouts.
It's one guy that would have the proper approach to hit Mariano. Right-hander that likes to hit the ball to right center field. Trying to get him to fish out.
Right back up the middle. Cano guns down Kendrick as Ibar moves to third. Mariano just missed fielding that, would have kept the runner at second. Once it got past him, that allowed Ibar to go to third. Incidentally, Ibar's stolen base, the first stolen base attempt against Rivera this year. Here's Bobby Abreu. 2 former teammates going up against each other. Abreu had a big home run to tie the game at 1 in the 6th inning. He's 1 for 4. 2 for 5 lifetime against Mo. Pitch is high. Top of the 9th inning, it's 4-4. 4 runs on 9 hits for the Angels. 4 runs on 8 hits for the Yankees. Neither team has committed an error. Missed inside. 2-0. Rich Thompson still warming, and Jordan Walden, the closer, also up in case they score.
It's funny, you think that, Bobby Abreu, by playing with Mariano, would know how to pitch it. Well, everybody knows how Mariano's going to pitch as a left-handed hitter. You can't do much with that cutter right there on the inside corner.
The 2-1. High, 3-1. Red hot Torrey Hunter is on deck. That one's driven deep to right field. Swisher running back, still back, track, wall, see ya. A 2-run home run for Abreu. His 2nd home run of the game, and it gives the Angels a 6-4 lead. He came into the game with 4 home runs.
Bobby Abreu looks like he cheated on this, and this ball didn't have that late cut that Mariano has. Kind of just straight off the bat. There was no doubt about this one. Had that sound too, Kenny.
Yeah, each time that Abreu's hit a home run tonight, he's had a 3-ball count. He's seen a lot of pitches during the course of the at bat, and this one, as you said, didn't have quite that cut. Didn't get it in there far enough, and he runs it out of the ballpark.
Torrey Hunter right in on the fist. That one's popped up. Long run for Martin. He can't get there. That's the second home run that Mo has allowed this year. Coming right at you is Russell Martin.
He looks forward to those plays, like I said. Trying to climb the walls, the screens. We've seen him a couple times this year up on the padding.
Fouled off. No, that's not. It's going to be an out. Torrey Hunter's trying to sell it as a foul. And Chris Guccione said, no, it didn't hit your foot. So Hunter's out for the final out of the 9th inning. So Mariano gives up the 2-run home run to Abreu. Let's see if it did hit him. I did, but these guys really are actors. This time he wasn't acting. It hit him right on the foot, and the umpire didn't see it. Bottom of the 9th coming up. Do they have a rally? We'll see. Baseball on My 9 is brought to you in part by Time Warner Cable Roadrunner Broadband, HP, everybody on, and by Citibank. What's your story? Citi can help you write it. Well, Bobby Abreu clubs his second home run of the game, a 2-run shot in the 9th inning, which breaks a 4-4 tie and gives the Angels a 6-4 lead. And with a lead in the bottom of the 9th inning, they bring in their young all-star closer, Jordan Walden. 48 strikeouts and 45 innings. He throws hard.
He can reach triple digits. I think it kind of reminds Angel fans, as we look at Bobby Wilson doing the catching, the days when Troy Percival was throwing fire out of the Angel bullpen.
He was a fun at bat. I tell you, that squinting and looked like you couldn't see the catcher, and he was throwing 100.
98 miles an hour, a strike to Nunez. It'll be Nunez, Gardner, and Jeter here in the bottom of the 9th. Boston and Minnesota tied at 3, top of the 7th. Pitch outside, 1-1. So the Yankees were down 4-1. Came back to tie it with 3 in the 7th, but the Angels retake the lead with 2 in the 9th on the Abreu homer off Mo. Pitch is high, 2-1.
Talk about hard throwers, and Anaheim has had some in their history. Did you ever face Nolan in the shadows out there? Because the shadows were horrible. You'd always start 4 or 5 o'clock games out in Anaheim.
Oh yeah, I remember no-hitter.
Oh yeah,
we were on the wrong end of it.
Did you see any of them?
Grounded up the middle, a base hit for Nunez. So he redirects the hard stuff, and that'll bring the tying run to the plate. Nunez has a good night going, 2 for 3 with a walk.
A lot of young hitters. You can't throw a fastball hard enough for him. Nunez is one of those guys. 98 doesn't matter if it's down the middle. Put the barrel on it.
All right, here's Brett Gardner now. Gardner with a big single in the 7th inning and a stolen base, and both he and Nunez scored on Derek Jeter's 2-run single that tied the game. So the Yankees looking to rally here in the bottom of the 9th. Walden deals high at 97.
You've got to understand the situation here. You're not going to steal bases. Your run means nothing down 2 runs.
Now, Bobby Wilson's going to go out and talk with Walden. Maybe he's a little amped, pitching in Yankee Stadium. Big crowd, 46,466, trying to nail this one down.
He's had an impressive rookie season. He's only given up 1 home run. And that was to Danny Espinosa of the Washington Nationals.
Had to go to the other league.
Yeah.
The 2-0. Strike.
And Espinosa might be making a bid for the National League Rookie of the Year.
Well, the Angels have Walden. They have Trumbo, both candidates for that award. The 2-1 runner goes. Strike, throw to second. Not in time. Stolen base for Nunez.
What surprised you, King?
Not if you make it.
Yeah.
This is his 2nd stolen base of the game. He's 18 stolen bases now. Been caught 5 times, but you better make it.
The only thing it really does in this situation takes a double play away.
Yeah, and you know what? It would have been difficult anyway with Gardner hitting the ground ball.
So it's a little surprising he went for it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That pitch was a strike. Way outside.
Okay, we mentioned Walden. We mentioned Trumbo, some of the younger players. The Angels this year making a run with several young players on their team. They've got 10 players on their roster who have 2 or fewer years major league experience. So that they've got some good players coming out of their minor league system.
The 3-2. He swings at ball 4 and strikes out. Not much time to make a decision there at 97 miles an hour.
I was just going to say that, Michael. I mean, it looks so bad on television. How could you swing at that pitch? But when the guy's throwing 97, 98, it's a millisecond, and you just see this. There's such late movement because the ball's thrown so hard. He's thrown a couple straight fastball. That ball had tail on him.
So that is a big out for Walden and the Angels. This is going to bring up Jeter. Jeter with that big 2-run single in the 7th, 1 for 4.
When pitchers throw as hard as Walden does, that's when your plate discipline really has to be at its best. Because as Paul said, you don't have even with a normal pitcher out there, you don't have much time to react, to decide whether it's a ball or a strike, and then swing at it and hit it. Even less when somebody's throwing close to 100 miles an hour.
It almost, you see a slider there, almost kind of, the scouting report kind of tells you this guy throws hard, and mentally you try to do things quicker, and it's not, you don't trust yourself to get to it, so you try to speed things up, and that's the worst thing you can do at the plate, is try to make things happen quicker.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Runner at second, bottom of the 9th. Yankees trail by 2. Jeter fouls it off. the count to 3-2, struck out. Such a delicate balance in this game. If he gets on, then Jeter bunts and moves the runners up, and you hope that your number 3 or 4 hitter can pick up a game-tying single, but it takes on a completely different feel now with the strikeout. Count 2-2. What velocity did you feel overmatched? 99?
I mean, you get over 95, and again, things just happen a little bit too quick. You know, as soon as the scouting report came out that the guy was close to 100, you just try to do too much.
99 high. How about you, Kenny?
Yeah, well, yeah, but if any of them get the pitch towards the middle of the plate, you can hit it. I don't care how hard they're throwing, because if it's right there, you just rely on your natural reaction to swing and get the barrel of the bat through the zone. It's the tough pitches, the one on the corners, are the ones that are really hard to get to, either in or out, when somebody's throwing very, very hard.
Again, the count 3-2. Nunez is on second with 1 man out. And Jeter walks. So now the tying runs are on base, and that'll bring up Granderson as the winning run.
You know, Kenny, and you look at Wilson, the catcher, a couple of pitches had at bat where he was ahead in the count. He was like almost setting up things, you know, setting up for high strikes and this and that. And I think when, you know, your pitcher's struggling with this kind of stuff, stay on the corner, stay in the strike zone, and don't get him looking in certain, you know, in other areas.
Because then all of a sudden he loses his release point. He can't bring it back down in the zone.
I mean, you can do that with the starters and veteran pitchers that need strikeouts and things like that. This guy has stuff to throw inside, outside corners, and that's it.
First inning. Curtis Granderson, number 29, he gave the Yankees a 1-0 lead at the time.
So that was the first scoring in the game, and Granderson would like to complete the final scoring in the game. After the home run, he struck out, flying to center, and struck out again. Pitch outside, took something off, 96 miles an hour. You're wondering, Granderson has had 1 career walk-off home run back in 2005, Tigers against the White Sox. The 1-0. Foul back.
Walden's thrown off fastball. He's thrown 2 sliders, both of them for balls. As a hitter, you almost have to eliminate that and just absolutely look out over the plate. Hopefully makes a mistake. Drive it to left center.
Wilson goes out and has another discussion with Walden. Mariano Rivera gave up the 2-run home run to Abreu. Now rooting for a comeback. Pitch outside. Angels got Walden in the 12th round of the June 2006 draft.
He's a 12th round pick. He must have picked up a few miles an hour, because 97, 98 usually doesn't go in the 12th round.
They probably didn't think he was signable because he committed to a baseball scholarship at the University of Texas. That one's grounded up the middle. This could be a game-ending double play. There's one, not in time. Just beat it out.
I'll tell you, we've been bragging about the Anaheim's defense all night. This is a ball that should have been a double play, and you should be out of the game. Now you're giving Walden a tough guy in Mark Teixeira to try to end the game with. It's a good pitch there, has a little tail to it. Just can't get it out of his glove.
Looked like the timing was off just a little bit. And you can see Granderson's foot. Ooh, he barely beat it.
That's tough.
Well, Walden knows he now has to face the dangerous Mark Teixeira. Teixeira's flirted with the long ball. He is 0 for 4 with 4 flyouts to the outfield. 3 to right, 1 to center. Granderson leads off first. Do they dare send him to get the tying run in the scoring position?
You just cannot take the bat at it. I mean, Mark Teixeira hits too many home runs. Gets a hole over there, too, by the first baseman holding him on.
Jeff Nelson.
He's got a swing.
Teixeira second in the major leagues with 32 home runs. Count 1-0.
Talked about it. Kendrick just could not get the ball out of his glove quick enough to turn that double play. It's not only just puts more pressure on Walden, it adds more pitches.
A strike. 1-1. Another fake to third, fake to first. So the Angels are worried about him going. Cat and mouse here.
Looks like he was leaning the last time.
Yeah, I was going to say his lead. I don't know if that's the way he takes it every time, but he looks like he's leaning. And a lot of players will do that just to try to draw the attention of the pitcher. You know, as a base runner, you don't lead off and make up your mind at that point, you know, whether you're going to steal a base. I mean, you know, going out there. So even if you're leaning, you can take what they call a one-way lead, knowing you're just going back.
Teixeira did not like that call as Walden hit the outside corner. Turns the whole at bat around. That's why he didn't like it. 1-2 is so much different.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
Now you're defensive. Runner goes and they have him picked off. And that's how the game ends. That's inexcusable to take the bat out of the hand of Mark Teixeira. And that's exactly what they did. They pick off Granderson, and that's how the game ends, and the Yankees lose a tough one, 6-4. The run did not score as Nunez was heading home, and it's caught stealing 1-6-3. So Mariano gives up that big 2-run home run to Abreu, and the Yankees inexcusably lose the game on the base path. What could have they been thinking?
Well, they kept trying this same move, and it finally paid off. I think Granderson waited till Teixeira had 2 strikes, and then he was going to go try and steal second, but he made his move too soon. There he goes. Walden has him 1-6, and Mark Trumbo's going to apply the tag, and the ball game's over.
And Joe Girardi, you can only wonder what would have been if he stays put. Maybe with the 2 strikes, they figured he's not going to be able to drive the ball. He becomes more of a defensive hitter, and they want the tying run in scoring position. Tough loss for the Yankees. When we come back, we'll break it down for you, give out some awards. 6-4 Angels win.